Well, I don't know about you, but I think that was one of the best seasons of television that we've had in the last 5 years. This was a phenomenal series. And I say series because we were under the impression that this was going to be a limited thing, that we wouldn't be getting a season 2. But if you notice, they called this a season finale, not a series finale. So it seems that there is a good chance that HBO may pick up a second season of Watchmen. Now, I just recently listened to Damon Lindelof during an interview with Mark Bernardin from the Black Man Beyond podcast. And, they call it Black Man Beyond, but it's called Fat Man Beyond. Mark Bernardin's an African-American, so when he's doing the show, he calls it Black Man Beyond. You should check the show out. It's really good. And Damon specifically said that he doesn't have an idea for a second season, so he's most likely not going to be involved. But if I was to pick from the top of my head in terms of who I would like to see tackle this subject matter, to play in this world, to be in this sandbox, I think Noah Hawley would be the perfect choice. Noah Hawley is well known for Fargo and for Legion on FX. And, you know, he's really good at just creating weird and dynamic worlds. I don't know. So, you know, what are your guys' thoughts? You know, let us know. You know, drop us a comment at meanwhile_pod on this episode and let us know who you think should run the second season of Watchmen. And maybe tell us what you would like to see in a second season of Watchmen, because I kind of know what I want to see. So let's end this off with a bang. Start the music.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, 4 colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls. They fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast. I'm Saba.
I'm Frank.
I'm Chris.
And guys, we've made it.
Yeah.
Not all of us.
Yeah,
Three of us made it.
Unfortunately, Christina's not here today.
Christina was so bereft that she couldn't make it to this episode. That's how much this series finale has impacted her. Maybe series finale.
Yeah.
Nobody's definitively said that we're not getting another season of this show.
So Damon Lindelof has made some comments. So we're here this episode, like we have been the last few episodes, to talk about the end of the Watchmen series.
Yep.
And what we think is probably the absolute end. Damon Lindelof had some comments about, you know, not really feeling like he needs to write anything else right now for this story. Maybe someone else taking up the mantle. Maybe him feeling like he wants to do it sometime down in the future. But for now, at least, this is the end.
Could we safely say that he left a couple of loose threads, though? At the end? I think there's a couple that they could pull on.
There's definitely a couple that he can pull on, but he did a lot better job tying things up than I thought he was going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From like experience.
Yeah.
You know, for sure.
Well, you know, we can't, I don't know, maybe, you know, who knows who was behind, you know, I think we all know what show we're talking about.
Yeah.
Who knows who was behind the decisions not to properly end that show. I loved it, but like, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I like the end.
There's also like, I kind of do often like endings with a bit of ambiguity. How do you say that word?
Ambiguity.
It's such a hard word to say, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I kind of like the unknown of it.
Me too.
Yeah, and I actually kind of almost wish that there isn't I do wish that there isn't a second season, because that ending has so much gravity, and it's like that. Like, that's why there should never be an Inception 2, because that ending is powerful, and like,
exactly,
you know what I mean. The ambiguity of it is like, it should remain what it is. Although I do think there should be like a spin-off for like Inception, but you know, anything that kind of like sullies that ending is not worth it, because it's like kind of like the cornerstone of that masterpiece. You know what I mean?
Like if they had another story in that world.
Yeah, like different characters or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Cobb, but yeah.
It was it was a good movie.
Yeah. So what did you guys think? Just without like getting into spoilers or anything, what were your thoughts on this final episode?
I really enjoyed it, for sure. I think that it was very ambitious in terms of what they did story-wise, for sure. And I loved a lot of the conclusions for a lot of the main characters, like without a doubt. Like there were some very satisfying moments in that show, for sure. But I also think that there was a lot of confirmation to some of our theories too, or like near our theories, just like kind of within the realm of our theories.
I was always right.
You know,
I was always right.
Yes, Saba's always right. We have a big poster here that says that right on the wall,
Just so they don't forget.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I definitely liked it. There was a few things that I think there's a few missed opportunities in my opinion, and a lot of things that they should have upplayed more. Like the awesome bits that I did like about it were like kind of downplayed a little bit. They were kind of overshadowing a lot of the things that they could have been doing. My whole thing is that like why couldn't the entire season be this, like, you know what I mean? This episode, the last 3 episodes, that could have been the entire season, and I would have been so happy. I mean, I understand like slow build up is a good thing, but like I don't know about you guys, but I felt like the last 3 episodes had an entirely different feel, an entirely different pacing.
I will say the latter half, I definitely enjoyed much more than the beginning.
Once we get into it, like I'll like kind of outline my grievances with this episode. And
we know you will. We know.
Well, why am I here? This is why I'm here, guys.
Okay, so let's start with it. Okay, let's start.
Sure.
Wait, what did you think of it?
Oh, what I think about it? Oh, wow. So thank you for asking me. I wasn't expecting this. I enjoyed the episode. There was like 1 or 2 things that I'm like, but I kind of had issue with, or was like seeing as an issue. But for the most part, I think it was a really good episode. I think it was a really great final episode. And I agree with Frank. I felt like a lot of the things that should have been tied up were, and what was left kind of unanswered. I think there was a reason for those things. So I kind of, for the last episode, I felt good about sort of where it ended at. If that makes sense.
Yep.
But okay, let's start. Opening scene. So we see Adrian Veidt recording his video that we know Wade sees in the future.
Yep.
It's November 1st, 1985. And we see Bian, not the clone version.
Nope.
OG.
She's sneaking
The
into
OG version.
the OG Bian, who seems to be a bit of a badass, sneaking into Adrian Veidt's office, and she steals a little sample, 2346.
Yeah, 2346. Did you guys notice that the password used on the computer is the same thing in the original Watchmen comic too?
What was it?
Ramses too.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I was looking for that because like I don't know. For some reason, I connect to that moment in that movie. I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool.
How do you love that? Like Adrian Veidt keeps a sample of his sperm behind a picture of Alexander the Great.
I think that's prototypical Adrian Veidt.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's prototypical
he sees
Adrian
himself
Veidt.
as like a man above everybody else.
He
Like,
does.
There's no better.
He does.
No better dude than.
He's a megalomaniac, without a doubt. Yeah.
And then also like this whole idea, like so she steals this vial, replaces it with Vaseline.
Yeah.
And then injects herself and says, "Fuck you."
Fuck you, Ozymandias.
And then does this like expositional dialogue. I like somebody out there is like rolling their eyes every time I say expositional dialogue because I fucking hate it. And it's like it's not that it was bad. Like they spent enough time on OGBN for sure. Because there were so many other threads. But my thing is that like they could have explored, like that could have been an entire episode, like OGBN, or at least like part of an episode or something. But instead they just did this expositional dialogue of who she is and what she is and her motivations.
So
because she's just talking to herself and she's just like, oh, this is what I am, audience. This is what I'm doing here.
So she was quoting actually an actual verse. So Lady Trieu is like an actual real person in Vietnamese history. And this was in the real Lady Trieu apparently said this to her brother because her brother was like, you should like stay home. You shouldn't do all this stuff. And so she like did all this. And so I thought that was like really interesting. That's something you kind of have to look into after. But yeah, I didn't see like she seemed so different than the man we know, like the clone version, which obviously they would be. A clone version is so sweet, like it seems. But yeah, there was like a lot of anger there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of anger. You know, she's probably somebody who didn't favorably see what happened to Vietnam. Like she didn't see it favorably.
100%.
She didn't see it
Makes
as
sense.
like you know, that the way that some other Vietnamese see it as like being liberated. She seemed like she was very displaced, right? She's clearly working in Antarctica because she had to leave Vietnam, right? Or like Adrian Veidt's going to Vietnam and like hiring people. I don't know how it works,
Or
but
she wanted to go there. Like this could have been like.
it could have been
I mean,
a
a lot
plan
of
from
people
the
want
start.
revenge.
It could have been her plan from the start.
Yeah. Although, are we sure it's his? What's the bunker's name again?
Karnak. It's
Yeah.
Karnak.
Yeah, it is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
it's just interesting because she does hate this man, yet she wants to inject, like she wants to have this man's child, and I guess is the reason. So, like, she'll have the smartest daughter in
Yep.
the world.
Yep.
Like that's it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I guess
Yep.
that's the reason.
Yep. It's basically, you know,
Terry McGinnis.
high value sperm shopping.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I guess so. Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah.
why you clone Batman types.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then if we fast forward, then it's the year 2008, and Lady Trieu shows up right at his doorstep.
Yep.
And he's like, "No fans, please."
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, not Antarctica. That's
And
how
no,
far you're gonna
and no, you can't use my restroom. That was fucking hilarious.
It's also
I was
quite
like,
rude.
I had to stop for a moment. I was like, does Adrian Veidt have people stopping by on a regular basis? Like,
And then being like, "Can I use your restroom before I go?"
yeah,
I mean, what's his face? Laurie's like partner over there probably would have if he had a chance. Go all the way to Antarctica.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
oh, Detective
Petey.
Like,
Petey
those
or
types of.
Agent Petey.
Agent PD,
Who's now confirmed Lube Man?
Who they
He's now
Is it
confirmed
actually confirmed?
in the PD files or whatever.
Yeah.
It was confirmed that he's Lube Man.
Yeah,
Because he got like
He got
fired,
fired.
but they found like a whole bunch of like oil or some weird shit.
canola oil.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Yep.
They apparently that string wasn't important enough to tie up in the show.
No.
I don't know why.
No,
You know, I still am mad that we didn't get more about.
we all
Panda.
wanted that on-screen exposition for Lube Man,
Oh
but
man,
what can you do?
yeah. If he was
What
at
can you
the
do?
end, like it's him. Like he's like the big bad. But yeah, so she shows up there and he's like, "You can't use my bathroom, whatever." But Lady Trieu goes into this thing like, "Oh, I know about 1985." Apparently, like everybody knows. Apparently, like a lot of people know about this thing. Enough people that I guess there's probably conspiracy theories about it not being real. But enough people know that that about this event, and she does too. And we see Veidt in a different way, and kind of leads us to like understand why he left Earth. He's like, Redford won't like answer my calls anymore. He has like the stuff on like an automated cycle.
You mean left New York? You mean? Oh, you mean left to go to Europa?
Yeah, left to
Oh,
go to Europa,
okay.
yeah,
I thought you meant why you went to Antarctica. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
no. And then also, I love that like Claire de Lune starts playing here. Which
Beautiful.
I love,
the
song.
music in this first like
Oh, my
like
goodness,
11
yeah.
minutes of the show. It's just amazing.
But-
and did you notice that Veidt gets manipulated by her? She's like, you know, nobody knows that you did this and you should be commended for it. You should be like, somebody should thank you for it. Like totally fucking manipulated him. And then once she got in the door, you fucking turned the screws on him.
Oh, 100%.
It's
She's
so
like,
good.
No. The thing is, like, I do like. Yeah, he definitely got manipulated to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But like, I like his interaction with. This is what I mean about this. This whole thing could have been one season because I wanted to see Trieu and Veidt interact more, because the way I see Adrian Veidt is he looks down on the rest of humanity. I mean, he said this himself. Like, he looks down on the rest of humanity as like babies in the crib, and there's very few times where he speaks to a peer, and he himself acknowledges a peer when he sees one.
Yeah.
And Lady Trieu came there and he gave her the respect that he rarely gives anyone. And it was this whole thing where it's like, okay, so you aren't one of these like screaming children. Come inside, right? Like come have a cup.
Yeah, but a big part of that was the fact that she told him that what he did was a good thing, right? Because he's been waiting for that. He's been waiting for affirmation for so fucking long,
though.
Right? I don't know, man.
I don't think she was lying, but she just said you keep doing it to rework. So like it was a great thing in 1985.
Because
now
she's about to do the exact same thing, her own plan, right?
Okay, yeah. I guess you could make that argument, but she definitely knew which buttons to push.
Oh,
That's
100%.
the point that I'm making.
But the thing is, like, I don't think that like Adrian Veidt was like. So you remember that scene later? I'm jumping a little bit ahead. Just for this one scene where they unfreeze him and Bian's like, "Why are you unfreezing him?" And he's like, and she was like, "He might have something to say."
Yeah.
Like, that line was just to tell us that Adrian Veidt is the same intelligence level as her, and he might have something to say on the situation, while everybody else in her playing field is a pawn. right? So like this, like that line was just designed to say like Adrian Veidt understands the complexity of my plan, like, or sorry, the complexity of my genius more than anybody else because everybody else is a pawn.
Yep.
So Adrian Veidt also saw that in her.
Yep.
That's why he was like, yeah, okay, come in, because I'm not talking to a child, I'm talking to an actual person.
Yep.
So I wanted more of that interaction, and I love that. Like as soon as she came in, she's like, yeah, like I like respect what you did, but you're also like old news. I'm new news, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and like she was already in, and she didn't need to like stroke his ego.
Mhm.
Well, then she was also saying as well, like, I think Adrian is surprised because, like you said, he definitely recognizes her as someone who knows something, but who's like intelligent. But when she's like, I got a ping, like I've been looking for Dr. Manhattan, like he's not on Mars. Like I have the satellite that like is in Europe, and that's like I got a ping from Europa, and she kind of it's really interesting where she lays the scene, and we kind of see the future, like the future mixed with the past, because she's like in 5 years, 72 days, 9 hours, and 17 minutes, this probe of mine will be orbiting Europa, right? And it's so interesting how that like kind of fits in with the, and then we see it later with the save me, and we see the D at the end, which is, it's funny because the scene after this, like Trieu is explaining her actual plan, and she is like, I need $42 billion, you know.
Would you stake me? Would you stake me $42 billion?
Like imagine your hubris, or like your comments,
Dad.
like she's very much Adrian's child.
Yeah, without a doubt, she's Adrian's child. Like she screams female Adrian Veidt.
Yeah. And her plan is like after she confirms where Dr. Manhattan is, she is going to destroy him and then take his power.
Yeah.
And she's going to build a quantum centrifuge, and she needs like $42 billion. And he's like, why would I give this to you? And then when she reveals that like she's his daughter, and he's like, impossible, which I thought was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Impossible?
Yeah.
Like, I guess like.
And then he reveals he's a goddamn virgin.
Yeah.
What
I guess
the
so.
fuck?
But I don't know. I just thought that
He's
was
such a good-looking guy.
How are you going to be a superhero and be a virgin?
He could be just like asexual.
No, because he's too smart for it. He doesn't like it. Legit is what it is. He's
he explained it. He said that, you know, like Alexander the Great, I see it as a distraction.
Yeah,
right.
It's like everything's so small business to him that like saving humanity is like the only thing that really gets him up. Like everything is just like nothing. It's like nonsense to him. He's so smart that I love characters like that so much.
Yeah.
Well, then it's interesting then after the fact is because she does reveal that she's his daughter. She's like, I'm sample, whatever. She's like 2, 3, 4, 6. And Adrian goes on to his kind of exposition being like, my parents like gave me all this money. Like I came from wealth and I donated it all. Right.
Yeah.
And because so I could create something from nothing. And that I think really pushes
exactly
Lady Trieu's buttons.
Exactly.
Like 100%. Because we see that later in the episode too. That's still like kind of eating away at her.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm going to give you nothing.
Yeah.
And I will never call you daughter.
And he goes out of his way to say that your mother was a thief and your genius was stolen. Like your genius was stolen. You didn't earn it. You didn't like study and become who you are. You inherited my DNA, right? You stole my DNA. That's basically what he's saying. And this lays down the gauntlet in front of her and sets everything in motion as far as Lady Trieu goes. It changes her from that moment forward, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so. We do see like that definitely like proving herself to Adrian like does seem to be like a driving force.
I think that's the primary driving force.
Even though she had that idea pre-Adrian though. She had the idea.
She did.
I think it's past proving to Adrian. It's more like rubbing it in his face.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's like she's not looking for approval.
Yeah, they're adversarial.
Yeah,
exactly. They're totally they have an adversarial relationship without a doubt. They're not like it. You know, this isn't the normal. I want mom and dad to be proud of me. It's I want to fucking outdo them. I want to show them up. I want to let them know that I'm better than them. Right? Same thing. She's just as big as a megalomaniac as fucking Adrian. Right?
Takes one to know one.
Takes one to know one.
Well, after the scene where, you know, in present day or sometime before present day on Europa with Adrian, and he kind of through the window like catches like a glimpse of his ship. And then the song that starts playing now is like the song from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is funny. Like
love it.
They do a lot of callbacks.
I love all the nods to 2001. By the way,
like I want to like
2010 too.
Yeah. What was that space station thing that they showed in the? They showed that, right? Like circular space station from.
I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm really glad that Lady Trieu like specified the day that the that the probe was gonna get to Europa. Like, it's a good thing she's like that kind of a genius, the methodical.
Do you think she knew?
I don't think she could be that accurate, though. I'm
Do you
sorry,
think she
though.
knew,
No, she
though?
had all the math in her head. 100%.
No, I know, but like, I just don't think that it's that easy. Like, even to do the math, right? I think that there's outlying forces that could definitely change that.
Oh,
you know what
mean,
I'm saying?
You mean space travel?
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, I don't think
If it's
anybody can nail it
If it's
down.
already in space,
No, and
you can probably
especially,
predict its trajectory.
but especially like knowing that, like, okay, so this is kind of like in theory space, but assuming that she's the only one with satellites, because remember, there's no cell phones, everything's on hardline. Like, her technology must be leaps and bounds ahead of everything else because she's the only one with satellites.
When you look
and
at
she knows like exactly when it's gonna get there. You know what I mean? The probe. So yeah, you're right. Like, it's, but you know, I guess we're supposed to just brush that. That is far from the biggest plot hole. So let's
No,
just
without
brush
a
that.
doubt. No, without a doubt. No, it's definitely something I'm nitpicking myself. But
like, yeah, I like that a lot for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, then Adrian ends up like escaping his prison, you know, with the whole really deep hole that he's like dug.
A very sharp horseshoe, apparently.
Yeah, he definitely, it's sharpened for sure.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
out.
had like a whole year or more, I think, right?
Yeah, he's got a while and not much to do. And that really gross old cake. But anyway, he goes to escape and he's just like leisurely walking towards. I'm like, can you hurry it up, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you just taking your time? But he's interrupted by the game warden, who's like, stop. Like, you have to stop. And he doesn't. And then Adrian pulls a old trick out of his bag.
Yep.
So awesome.
The bullet catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Old Jeremy Irons doing the bullet catch. Pretty,
Can I just say, I
pretty
love
crazy.
Jeremy Irons, and like, I love
Oh, he's
Jeremy
fantastic.
Irons. Like,
He was great in this show.
but it makes me want to watch all of his movies now.
He was one of the standouts, without a doubt. He was one of the
Like,
standout
he did
performers.
such a good performance in this
Yeah.
episode and in like previous episodes.
You know what I just realized? The game warden gave Vite the sharpened horseshoe. He's the only one with a horse on that in that whole place.
No. Remember the first episode? The first Mr. Phillips we ever see gives him a horseshoe, and then he's like, "Not yet, not yet." And
Really?
yeah, the very first episode, like they gave him the cake, and then he's like, "Here, the horseshoe to like eat it with or something," and he's like, "No, not yet. He doesn't eat it yet." And he puts. You guys don't remember that?
Oh,
that's
shit.
the first hint that we ever get that like
Good
Mr.
memory,
Phillips is
bro.
not- well,
Good
yeah.
memory. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember that at all.
That's awesome.
But it does
That's
make more
awesome.
sense because we see it all the time. And it's like, why?
You know what I thought it was? I thought the horseshoe was his like crown, his laurel thing. I thought he
Oh.
like bends into the laurel, and then I'm like, oh, it's just to climb out of the thing. So I don't understand. Like, did he plan that from the beginning?
Yeah, you guys realize this whole thing was manufactured, right? The game warden is a completely
yeah.
manufactured element in Vite wanting to have a challenge, not to
Well,
go
yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
game
That
warden,
is
he's
for
like,
sure.
he's like, why did you make me wear the mask?
Yeah.
And he's like, masks make men cruel.
Cruel, yeah. And he wanted somebody to go up against.
Yeah.
And he manufactured all these events. Like everything, like even sitting in those fucking chains inside
Yeah,
that.
everything makes so much more sense. Like,
It totally makes more sense.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think he would have. Like, I don't think he would have known. See, the thing is, I bet you anything he planned the whole courtroom thing. But by the time it actually happened, he was like so bored. Like, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a cool defense. I'm gonna tear these
It's
guys
like
down."
Dr. Manhattan knowing everything. Like Dr. Manhattan
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
He does it in the long way.
Yeah.
Like, he does it in the human way.
Yeah, he
But
does
anyways,
it in
like-
a very odd way just so he can know everything that's coming.
Yeah.
And also, we have to realize that the whole rule about not leaving is Vite's rule.
Mm.
He's told them, "Don't let me leave."
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Isn't
'Cause
that
he's the
fucking
master.
crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's not crazy. He's genius. He needs a stone to sharpen his mind against.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
that's so complex.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Well,
and for them to come up with that, right? Like for the writers' room to sit down and say, okay, Adrian Veidt is such a megalomaniac that he needs this not to go insane.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
So cool. And like a lot of the scenes start making sense. Like the whole him hunting the buffalo.
Yeah.
And then like he's so grandiose about it. He's just like, oh yeah, let's go like fire back with this essay that I'm gonna write.
Yeah.
And he was just like so excited about it. And I'm just like, dude, like,
so good.
who cares?
So
But
good.
yeah, it makes.
He
And then
says that. He's like, I had 8 years to kill.
Yeah.
He basically wanted to make the game warden like this worthy adversary.
Yeah.
And
I love how he's so blunt about it.
And the best is he's like,
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead,
the
go ahead.
adversary. No, not really. But
No.
you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
The show
You
would
gave
yeah,
us a-
yeah,
gave
you
us a
put on a
show.
great show,
Yeah.
didn't he? Yeah, he said you put on a great show.
Well, then he starts to like leave, and all the servants like line up for him there.
Yeah. I'm so sad. I like them. I like Mr. Phillips and Mrs. Crookshanks.
I really like so the very last Mrs. Crookshank like gives him like the
Laurel.
crown and the kiss, you know?
Yeah.
Like she really felt.
What I want to know is where's the original Eve? Original
is
Mrs.
that, do you think that's
Crookshanks?
her?
Maybe.
Maybe that could be the original one.
That I feel like that is the one that's most likely to be the original from the emotion she
It would have
showed.
been cool if she was if she was in a position of power too. You know, like maybe she was like an adversary of the game warden, and like
Mhm.
they differed on
Yeah.
how to like try and keep Adrian there.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Claire de Lune starts playing again
Again,
with this
beautiful.
scene, but I love that, and it's because they're on
Yep.
a moon. It makes sense.
Yep.
And he enters the ship, and the ship is like pretty much like autopilot. Like it starts up immediately.
Elon Musk is taking notes. He's like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit, what the
Yeah,
fuck,
he's like, I
man?"
gotta get on this.
So I have to like talk about this scene. So like a Dutch ship, I guess pod scene. I
Yeah.
love that scene so much because he walks in there and he's like, all according to plan. And then the ship starts taking off and he's scared for the first time
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking so sick. Where he's like, he's been out of the loop for so long that something surprised the smartest man alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that. Like, it was such a small thing, but I loved it where he like didn't know where to put his hands.
Oh yeah,
Because
he was.
and he was
I
just
felt
like,
bad
what the
a
fuck
lot
do
for
I
him
do?
this episode. Like I don't usually feel
Yeah,
bad for
100%.
Adrian, but there's a lot of scenes
He's
where I
like-
felt like
Yeah.
I felt sorry
Mhm.
for him, or
Yeah.
not like sorry, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
he just seemed so out of it. And then when we're going into space, we see he did say "Save me, daughter."
yeah,
He's like, I would never call her that.
Oh, I
ever.
missed
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So he
You missed that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of the best takeaways. Is that
Oh, I did know that, but
No, oh,
I
okay.
just didn't see the scene. I thought it was like some deleted scene or something.
like when he goes out of his way to say, "I'll never call you daughter,"
Yeah.
and then he calls her daughter in the rescue message. It's like he knew exactly what he needed to say to her
100%.
to catch her attention.
Mhm.
I love that. Like that is so that's just good writing.
Yeah.
Just good writing.
How did he spell the rest of the word? Is my
with
question.
the other dead bodies.
Yeah.
No. But the okay. So two problems. I mean, it's not a big problem. Like, they can explain it away for sure.
Yeah.
But I want to know what you guys think. So the probe came there once. Check. Right? Did it circle around? And how would he have known that it would circle around for him to? Because the first time the probe came, it was just D. Right? So
I don't think they showed us the whole scene. I think they
Oh, okay.
only.
So that
Yeah,
could,
I think
that
they
could be a
cropped it.
solution.
I think
Okay,
they cropped
see.
that
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other plot hole would have been like he got arrested right after. But
Yep.
okay, so if that's the case, then problem
Yeah,
solved.
I
Yeah.
think they didn't because like you could kind of tell there was something else there, but they stopped there because I think they wanted you to think like the Doctor Manhattan
Yeah.
or is it what? And then
Exactly
some
what
people didn't
you
even
wanted to
notice
think.
the,
Yeah.
the
How
D or-
weird must have that been? Because we don't know. Like the Earth doesn't know about Mrs. Crookshanks and Mr. Phillips.
No.
They're like, fuck are those dead bodies?
Yeah.
I know.
Like that
Word.
must have been the weirdest shit. Like, do we
Word.
even want this guy back?
And does
That is very true.
and does NASA exist in this world?
I don't think
No,
in
no, I don't
terms
think
of
so.
whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a space race. You were saying
There's no space race.
right.
I don't think. I think True's the only one that has anything
Yeah.
in space.
Yeah.
Everyone
'Cause-
else's computers is like super old, man.
Pagers and landlines.
Could
Yeah.
you imagine like somebody's in the NASA office and they get photos back from a probe and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like,
People wouldn't
I
even
have
believe
so
it.
many questions.
yeah. They'd
Um,
be like, "Okay, we need to airbrush these ones just like we do the UFO photos."
Yeah. But in the ship, so he ends up stepping into sort of that preservation chamber
Yep.
and tells him to put his arms out.
Make a pose.
Yeah.
Make a hero
And then
pose.
we see that face. Again, it's like, I don't even know. Is it like a face of fear, a face of like the unknown? Like he's
it's
like,
unknown.
yeah, like he just feels like so out of place. And then it cuts to basically present time at the Millennium Clock. And you know, we're about to, I guess he's being defrosted. Is that
I guess.
what's the technical term
I
for
guess.
becoming not
He's
gold?
being Demolition Man.
Yeah,
Or
the
Austin
gold.
Powered.
The gold was interesting. Like the fact that they whatever that chemical was,
The way
was,
it came
was
off
the color
was
gold.
interesting.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before that, like Biana's there, and like she's like, "I've got something to tell you," and she's like, "I'm your mom." Like I know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
I need to
know.
tell you this now because he may say he may say something.
Yeah, but she definitely does have like, obviously she has issues with like her parents, but she does have a weird thing with Adrian, like
Yeah.
with. And I guess we talked about this earlier. It's not necessarily like it is more. I think rubbing in the face, like look at what I did, because the conversation that kind of proceeds from here, is interesting. So like Adrian sort of comes out of this. Adrian's real out of it, like super out of it, and he looks super like frail, We get like, you know what I mean? We're not used to seeing like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of unnerving. And
oh shit! Sorry guys, did you guys catch the reference to Ronald Reagan in the scene between Lady Trieu and like when she first meets him, when she's talking about Redford being president and
calls her cowboy.
He's talking about real world Ronald Reagan, which is kind of funny. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, because you did a lot of cowboy movies, right?
Yeah, he did. He was a cowboy. No. Ronald Reagan, like he makes a reference to real world, like not Watchmen world, our world, Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Like,
I thought it was Redford.
Because he says like a cowboy could be president, and a cowboy was president in our world. Like it's just a very meta kind of line for the audience.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that was very important.
I like that one. I thought that was kind of funny.
No,
but
it was a good line.
Yeah.
And I like how Adrian Veidt immediately recognized, like, you fucking cloned your mother.
Yeah.
It's like it looks at her like figures it out immediately. Right.
Immediately. He
I told you he's smart.
Yeah.
I think it's the glasses. Like, I think he remembers those glasses are so distinct. Like, he's probably looking at her face and going like, I remember you.
Yeah. You could tell like Lady Trieu like bought those glasses specifically. It's like,
for real.
I need some round ones, please.
Straight up.
Out of style.
Yeah.
No. I need some 80s round glasses, please.
Well, Lady Trieu tells Adrian, like, so it's like we're basically present day. Like, he wakes up from, I don't know how long it takes for him to travel back.
No idea.
But she's like, oh, I'm going to destroy like Manhattan in an hour, by the way, if you want to be there. Here's these like new clothing because your clothing is awful.
But he was in the garden first, and then they brought him in. So whenever he landed, they brought him into that garden. They left him there.
So he was
there for a while.
Yeah,
he's been there for a while. He's been there since the start of the Oklahoma part of the story.
At least. So he's, I don't know like how long the time travel was.
Right.
To get from Jupiter.
Yeah, space travel.
I think 3 years because I want to say 2.5 years because 6 months after they meet, he gets sent there, and then 7 years because we don't get another candle, we don't get another cake, so it's 7 years. That's 2.5 years then.
Yeah.
No,
I did the math.
So he's been there for a while.
That's pretty good.
Good math.
Yeah.
So I think Lady Trieu came to Tulsa before everything. No, maybe after.
Like, I think she knew it was going to land there. It was after White Knight. She knew it was going to land there. Like the
she knew
ship.
the probe was going to hit there. Yeah, that's why she went to that farm and bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting because she's like wanted Adrian to be there because she's like, you watch me achieve anything having started from nothing. Like that was
rub it in his face.
Yeah, that was the rubbing in the face.
That was totally rubbing in his face.
Yeah. And I think that gold thing was kind of designed to like make sure it didn't disintegrate on impact too as well.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's like some protection thing because that thing was a comet. That thing was not intact.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then she's just like, let's keep him in there for a while. I don't need him.
Yeah, like I don't need his opinion. Like I just need him to see this thing. And then Adrian sees the Millennium Clock and sees like that is just a cover for the centrifuge, like the quantum centrifuge that they have.
People are still asking online, what was the Millennium Clock for?
It's the centrifuge, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Some people are also asking online, what's the comet? Like,
damn, people.
We don't have to draw a line. Well,
man, I already knew that from like episode 3. I called that shit. Anyway, no, it's okay. We all catch different things. Okay, so then we pop down to downtown Tulsa.
Yep.
At where the Dreamland Theaters, the paper stand. So Lady Trieu is collecting the papers again, and the guy's like, "Well, I really like this paper guy. I don't know who
I love this paper guy.
Seems like
he's
a real
great.
chill."
And he's in The Wire. He's one of the bigger police chiefs in The Wire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, she gets the papers from him, and she gives it to Bian, and she's like, "Time capsule." And I was like, "What time capsule?
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
Yeah.
What is the story?
Commemorate the day.
So there's another thread that is left loose. And then I love that Adrian is like still shocked that like Redford is president.
That was
he's like,
great.
What?
It's like, you guys, what the fuck? You know, can I just take a break and like take one of the jokes from Joe Rogan's stand-up where he's talking about the First Amendment or the Declaration of Independence, and it's like, what would the founding fathers say if he saw the Declaration, or sorry, the Declaration of Independence and all the amendments, and he'll be like, you guys didn't write any new shit. It's like the same thing that Adrian Veidt was like, you guys didn't change the presidents? What the fuck?
Yeah, like
I gave you guys a president. Change him though.
That right? Like he does is probably like, okay, I gave you one thing and you guys won't like this is like more like I guess.
Well, Nixon got rid of
him.
Nixon got rid of term limits, right? Like he got rid of term limits in the original Watchmen, and that's why he was president for so long, because he got rid of term limits. And I guess Redford
didn't instate them back in.
Didn't instate it back in, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah. I don't know. From like around the world, we can see like term limits are probably a good thing.
Term limits are a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not working out, get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's not get into it.
Yeah.
Also, like, 4-year policies are
4-year
hard
policies. 4-year policies are right, but like,
or even 8-year policies.
If you have like a case of like a guy like being in charge for like 30 years.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a give and take for each.
It gets very like.
But if you keep getting voted in, there's a problem with your voters, right?
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, that is true. But anyway, so he's shocked about that, and I also like the theories about like Adrian. Like Adrian's like in the jungle. For something like
the
Tarzan.
guy giving his random theory about him becoming Tarzan. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Meanwhile, like the quantum like centrifuge is like now floating,
fucking hovering over the square. Yeah,
the end is nigh.
Yeah.
But we don't really get a lot from there. But we from transition to there to 7th Cavalry headquarters, and Senator Keene Sr. is also a member of Cyclops. We figure out. Which is really interesting considering like his stuff in the original Watchmen.
And this made me ask myself something. And what it made me ask myself was, did Senator Keene, the original Senator Keene, did he bring in the Vigilante Act because he found out that Hooded Justice was African American?
I don't know. There's like a lot of speculation there. Like I don't know.
Maybe, but like
I know it's a good question to speculate on.
It definitely is. Maybe. So the only thing I would say is it was around the Watchmen time and not the Minutemen. The Minutemen were already like tired.
Right.
So I mean,
but that's when the Vigilante Act came into play. It was for the Watchmen, not the Minutemen.
Right, but would he just like get mad that one of the
that they inspired this whole that an African American inspired this whole thing?
Maybe.
I mean, it could be that. Like, I don't really know what their long-term plan was, because it's interesting because his son basically like undid the act that he had. So he could put masks on cops. Yeah.
So it was to kind of serve their own agenda, right?
And like Blake, we see he's like caught front row seats that girl got. And she's listening. And so simultaneously while this is happening, like the attack is happening with Angela and Dr. Manhattan, because she's like hearing it over like
over the walkie-talkie. Yeah.
And then our good old friend Wade is there. So like that, I think someone said that he's probably like hiding out in the 7th Cavalry.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I don't need a panic back.
But yeah, he's like there, and he's like, it's funny because she's like guy, and even
she still calls him Mirror Guy.
I love it.
like Lori shows no fear in this. Like, well, obviously she's scared, but she's not going to show anybody else that she's scared. She's not going to express anything.
Resigned, right? Yeah. Like she's like, eh.
I mean, she's been through it all. This person,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, not only like having 1985, like through 1985 and stuff there, but like through FBI. Like, I think she's like,
yeah.
She just seemed real over it.
She's pretty hardened.
But meanwhile, Keene is like talking into the thing, like, take the shot,
yep.
right? Because then obviously we can assume. So this is where like the end of the last episode is lining up now with this episode.
Yep.
And we see Dr. Manhattan still with the face of Cal appearing in the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like the fact that Wade was like, oh, the 7th Cavalry wanted me to like flip on Angela. So we know like he was on her side, which I assume, but like, you never know.
Yeah.
It was good to confirm it for sure.
It was very good to confirm.
To hear that our boy isn't backstabbing.
And it was interesting that Blake automatically just kind of like trusted him too. Like, there's been shows, there's been movies where, you'll think the guy is with you, even once he infiltrates a group, you think he's with you, but it's almost like it's a way of subverting the way you see things. You know what I'm saying?
But I think for her, it's like low cost. Yeah. Like no matter what, like even if she's like, he's not on her side, like she's in the same position.
Yeah.
Like there's not much she can...
She's like, yeah, I don't really...
True.
I have no choice but to trust you.
Yeah, there's like not much you can do.
True.
Meanwhile, like Angela is like freaking breaking this man's fingers trying to find out where they are.
Yeah.
On the other side, and I was like, oh, I can't watch shit like that. That like really gets to me.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I like
that was
when
pretty
she
brutal.
Broke 2 in a row.
Oh,
like, yo, motherfucker, you think I'm done? Bam, bam.
I was like, stop.
And she's like, and then she's like, I'm gonna start working on your teeth. And I was like, please cut the scene. Like, go somewhere else.
I liked it.
I like can't. My brother used to like crack my knuckles on my hands for me, and I hated it. He would like when I would least expect it. like he would do it next.
How can he sneak up on you, crack your knuckle?
Because he's like 9.5 years older than me, okay? And I was a child, okay? He's a lot bigger than me. He doesn't do that anymore, obviously. Yeah, he stopped.
Stop doing
he has
that.
children now that he can torture, so
There
he's
you go.
fine. But back at like HQ, Keen, he starts his monologue. They all have it. And he starts like undressing. And you're just
Yeah.
like, I was
He
like,
starts undressing.
and I was like,
yeah.
keep it on, bro. We
Yeah.
don't need to see this. But he does the same thing that like a lot of villains do. They kind of like
Monologue.
start the monologue. So he's like, Redford.
And he's wearing the same underwear.
Oh.
He's
Dr.
wearing
Manhattan.
the Dr. Manhattan
tell you, think about
panties.
this.
What the
Think
fuck?
about this. He woke up in the morning and was like, I need to, like, does he have multiple pairs? Did he get that special made? You can't get that in a shot.
Yeah, he got it special.
What is
made.
wrong with, like, if you want to keep it in, just wear some briefs. Like, why do you have to wear this weird V
No,
shape?
just in case he's stuck with it for the rest of the time, he'll be like, yeah, give me the OG Dr. Manhattan.
It looked like a diaper. Like, almost like a diaper.
It was the most horrible looking pair of
so bad.
bottoms I've ever seen in my life. I think it would have been more gangster if he literally just like
Nothing.
dropped Trieu. He just fucking standing there buck naked in front of everybody. He's like,
Yeah, I don't
I'm going to be
No,
Dr.
no, no.
Manhattan,
I mean, that's
motherfucker.
what
He
you
needs
really
some
want. I
Walter
understand
White.
that, Frank.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
That dude needed some
That's just a
Walter
better
Whiteys.
story choice. Did
Yeah,
they
not
have him wearing
underwear.
black panties?
He could have just wore, like, different underwear.
No,
I know we're really harping on
no,
this right now.
no.
but-
I would have, like, if I was writing that scene, I wouldn't have shot it the same way I shot all the other Manhattan scenes, but I would have had him like drop Trieu.
Maybe like a swimsuit.
Just as like a move of confidence, just like almost like, motherfucker, I'm going to be the most powerful being in the
a
world.
cute pair of trunks. I
don't know.
But anyway, so he starts off his monologue and he was talking
Yeah.
about like, Redford gets elected. He's like, they took our guns and then
Yeah.
made us apologize.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I wanted to start like a culture war by getting cops in masks. But basically he was like, I control both sides. So then in the end, like I kind of like walk in as the
Ride
hero,
up on a white horse to the White House.
and be like
Yeah.
this hero, right? And he's like, it was half baked. When you think about it, like
Yeah.
it does seem like a really like far fetched plan. I feel like a lot of things could
A
have
lot of things need to connect in there to make that fucking plan work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then it goes in the story. So like 3 years ago, like after I ordered the White Knight, so he's like confirming, which I think we knew was a part of it, but
Yeah.
but he's one of the ones who ordered it. That his like this guy Mike, who's like a real important character.
Yeah.
guys.
Mike.
Mike
Mike.
calls Keen, and he's in Gila Flats, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then he's like, that's impossible. Like I'm not gonna do
I
accents.
just sent to Oklahoma to kill some police officers.
That's what
Yeah.
it sounded like. That was it.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, that's impossible. And
Yeah.
like Mike was like, I got teleported.
I got teleported.
The delivery of that line
Yeah.
was so good.
So dry. Just like dropped it on him.
And
I
then,
gotta
like,
say, I love Joe Keane Jr.'s performance. Like he's such a fucking good actor.
Yeah.
Like he gave Lex Luthor a run for his money as far as like just
he had this look in his eyes. Like there was like something in his eyes. Like you could tell he was like so
maniacal, just
yeah.
like this maniacal type of like, I think I'm a genius, but I'm not quite sure I'm a genius, but I'm confident. And it just an amazing performance. And the actor is James Wolk, and he played an interesting part in Mad Men. He was like this account manager that was dealing with Peter Campbell, and it got really convoluted and weird, but this guy's performance was fucking phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it.
No, he was really good.
Yeah.
And then also that Mike guy, that one line really sold it. And I like how Lori under her breath is like a thermodynamic miracle.
Thermodynamic miracle, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But so this means though, we now know that they knew about Dr. Manhattan
Yep.
for this amount, like for 3 years at least.
Yep.
And that's why like Judd and Jane Crawford got close
Befriended
to
them.
in
Yeah.
the first place. So like they knew he was there.
Yeah. Which confirms my theory probably that Judd Crawford faked his injuries without a doubt. Like maybe he took a wing, like maybe he got winged in the shoulder
yeah, for sure.
or whatever, but that's it. Like he didn't really get shot. Like there's no way. Cuz he's on the inside obviously, right? He's part of Cyclops. Oh, by the way, Cyclops.
No, wait, that's a plot hole.
No, it's not.
Because they said after we found out about Dr. Manhattan, we sent Judd in to befriend
Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah.
They were already friends.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were, because after she woke up from White Knight, he was there, and he was there in
No, he
the
was there
hospital.
he was there as another cop saying, "Hey, listen, I'm trying to
But
I want to put
already
together
No,
like,
they didn't know each other.
They didn't
then.
know each other,
I think
bro.
they just met them.
Yeah,
But remember, she was like, "Oh, if you're not quitting, then I won't quit either."
yeah,
Like,
I know,
they had,
but
like,
Yeah, I know, but
I have
like,
to watch that scene again.
yeah, I think they were just bonding over the fact that they both survived. It was just survivors kind of.
Were they
like-
both cops at the time?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
they were already connected at that point.
I don't think they were.
Maybe it was like because we already knew that they were friends.
Yeah.
I have to watch that scene again, but there's a chance that that's.
By the way, the Cyclops symbol is the OK symbol just up here.
Yeah.
And everybody's been talking about the OK symbol.
The OK symbol?
Yeah, the OK symbol is apparently racist now.
Nobody says that.
Lots of people Google it.
Oh, it actually was a thing. So
Google it.
there's actually this.
Well, I don't use it, so I'm fine. But
There was actually this funny thing. Well, not funny, but like there was this a group of cops in somewhere in the South. They all did the OK symbol, and
Yeah.
somebody trolled and went, oh, the OK symbol, if you look at it, it's W and then a P, which is white power.
Yep.
He just trolled and made it up.
Yeah.
And these cops got in so much shit
got in so
after
much
one
shit.
guy.
And now it's
on the
gone
internet.
viral.
And it was just like, yeah, it was like, oh my god, that's how easy we can rile up the fucking the mob in this day. and age.
I've never heard of it doing it, but
That's why they used it. That's why they did that.
I
They
just
took
think 'cause,
that and they put it up here.
Oh well, I guess so. I guess
Yeah.
that could be it for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've never. It's not a symbol I use often. I'm more of a finger guns kind of girl.
I'm more of a bird. I like the bird.
Bird.
But yeah. So my next note here is Keen's underwear. ... Because this is where we see it. And he goes into okay. So you were saying last episode, oh, like I think the batteries are going to be loose end.
Yeah.
They weren't.
but
So
no.
they were a cage made of synthetic lithium.
Lithium.
From like these old watch batteries. 'Cause
Yep.
I guess this could like hold Dr. Manhattan.
It was to disrupt his connection to time, so he couldn't know where he was in his sense of time.
Yeah.
That's apparently what
he was
happening.
saying things that wasn't like you could tell he was like out of time.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't in
Yeah.
the right thing.
Yeah.
He would say
Yeah,
things-
a lot of the things he was saying was during the Vietnam War. He was saying like, get back in your houses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see a threat in Afghanistan. Like,
Yeah,
there's
Afghanistan, yeah.
yeah, there was some weird like a lot of it was in the Vietnam War, but like I guess he was.
I've got a theory. I think the Afghanistan line is him switching dimensions and finding another dimension where Russia
our dimension?
actually maybe. I think actually Russia attacking Afghanistan in the 80s.
And then
It didn't happen in Watchmen.
And then season 2 is like a different parallel universe.
or maybe that's why
Maybe.
they didn't do it though. They didn't do it because he was like, I don't see Afghanistan as a problem.
Yeah.
Like that could be just
they were
why it didn't
probably
happen.
trying to convince him to like start another war.
I just
Yeah.
think it was the writers fucking
Yeah.
with us. Like I think they were just having some fun. But yeah.
I also like Lori saying what we're all thinking, which is you look stupid in those pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but
I love
Lori
her.
and
I love her.
Yeah. Yeah, Lori's the best, and I don't think she got a fair shakedown. Like, I don't think she didn't do anything. Like,
I don't know.
The ending
she's one of my favorites, but she didn't do shit.
Let's hold off on that until we
Yeah.
get to the end.
Okay,
because
but
it's
anyways.
like, yeah.
Wait, what was I gonna say?
The panties?
Lori and Dr. Manhattan didn't say anything to each other, did they?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah,
I don't,
that was the other thing I didn't like.
I wanted that too. I wanted some sort of connection
Interaction,
there.
yeah.
But
Why
I think
not?
he was so out of it that he didn't like.
What about Lori?
I know Lori wasn't.
Wasn't surprised.
Also,
wasn't
the
anything.
guy when he said "Yeehaw, let's get blue," I was like, "Oh man, I
Mhm.
just want you to die now."
Yeah.
Like, I was like, "This is the worst thing you've done so far is say that line." In my personal,
But it was prototypical.
It was very
prototypical hayseed, racist, cracker, like,
I
racist.
just
That's
don't
what
like
it was.
the phrase "yeehaw."
No, I know, but it
I don't think you were meant
it
to
was
like that
prototypical.
stuff.
You're right. You're right. I don't think that was
have-
aimed towards me.
I have one complaint within this entire sequence. There wasn't enough overt racism. Like the community, like the way they were communicating with each other, like there wasn't, like you could almost look at that crowd in the 7th Cavalry, like the people in the pews, and be like, they're normal people. There's nothing really that racist about them. I don't know if that was like
Wait,
a part of it
but
But
how,
you can't-
how can you overtly make a crowd look
by
racist?
using certain language.
But I think this is the thing.
they had
This
no
is the
lines.
thing. What I always say.
No,
like,
no, but I'm talking about Keen too.
Oh, he did have that one line.
He didn't.
just said
he didn't.
he said he called Angela like a
black bitch.
bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is
Did-
pretty racist.
Were you gonna spell it?
Yeah, I was just gonna spell it. I don't know why.
Okay, so here's my problem with this. It's like, okay, yeah, you wanted to write a white supremacist enemy, sure. Like that's a decision I would not have gone with, because it's like like I've said this before, like it completely robs you of the chance of making a nuanced antagonist, right? But it's fine. You want to make that decision, that's fine. But then halfway through the show, Keen starts presenting himself as someone who's smarter than these yokels, he says.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just taking control of these, like, racist yokels because I have a plan and I'm using them. And he's presented to the audience because he was telling the truth from that entire sequence. When this is when he was talking to Looking Glass.
Yeah, okay.
He was like, he had no reason to lie. So therefore, as an audience, like, you should take his word for what his motivation for his character is. So they present to the audience that he's a step above these like racist yokels, as he puts it. And then that's just, like, this is one of my main complaints. It's like, now it just gets pulled back, and it's like, oh no, don't worry. Not only is the 7th Cavalry just a pawn, they're also just white supremacists. They have no further motivation. They're just white supremacists, and it's like, oh, okay, well, like, that whole side story is kind of fucking boring.
He did make it seem like when he was talking to Wade, like,
there was more
like,
to the 7th Cavalry.
And that's what I kept looking for the entire series, was like, oh, okay, these 7th Cavalry are up to something. It's probably still going to be evil. It's probably still going to be whatever, but it's something that I want to dig into because they have motivations.
It's more like Lady Trieu was. Like, if we were to explore her, more of her background, like using them to get where she wants, like, that is, because like, Senator Keen, I thought would be more like what we figured out Lady Trieu was, where he was using this group to achieve a means to an end.
But it doesn't mean that group can't be deeper as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would have loved 2 sets of antagonists, right? But instead they just got relegated to essentially pawns,
in a way,
right?
Lady Trieu is an antagonist.
She is the antagonist for sure.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that, like, there's no reason why the 7th Cavalry couldn't have been, because that was the antagonist from the beginning, right? Like, that was the clear and present threat. But then, like, it just, like, and there were so many questions that it beckoned the audience to ask, and then, like, there was really no reason to dig deep because they were exactly who they said they were. Right. It's like, I don't know. Like, for me, that was a misfire in my opinion.
The one thing I will say though about, like, them not, like, seeming racist or saying something like that, I will say, in terms of, like, racism, the people who are racist, who kind of, like, I would not scare me, but the ones that are whatever aren't the ones who are, like, outwardly racist. Like, people who are, like, out there saying stuff like, I'm racist, like, those people would be just, like, kind of write off because they're, like, obviously, like, outwardly racist in terms of anything. The ones that are kind of more frightening in society are the ones that are kind of, like, come off as these people who are these, like, very kind whatever people, and then you're like, get to know them whatever, and then you kind of find that out because you think, oh, this person's, like, sane, like, which I think would be more interesting. I think it would be so interesting to explore Judd Crawford in that aspect because he is someone who comes off as very, like, kind and loving and sane of mind, and seems like he wants to be a good friend and also wants to, like, be a good husband and a good chief, right? So if we were to explore, like, that character, that would be really interesting, where Senator Keen is more, like, not exactly a caricature of a racist, but, like, almost is at the end of it, where
I think he was.
Yeah,
at the end, turn him into a cartoon. They turn him into a cartoon.
When he said yeehaw, it was done.
With black briefs on? Yes. With bikini briefs on? 100%.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah. He's a cartoon. He's a cartoon at that point, right? But going back to what you're saying about Crawford, you know, you're right about that. Like, it would have been more interesting because when we see him, we meet him, he's watching Black Oklahoma and he's loving it. Not only that, he goes back to the house and he's singing the fucking show tunes from it.
Well, that was
like,
weird.
I'm just trying to say that, like, his cover was so meticulously crafted and so well kept that it's kind of crazy that he wasn't in a bigger position of power within Cyclops.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure. But sort of, I guess, okay, if we move on to the next scene from there, this is where, like, Angela finally steps in.
Yeah.
You know, right when his pants are off.
Yeah.
So basically she's warning Keen, even though, like, they are what they are, she knows what they are. She's like, you're walking right into Lady Trieu's plan. Like, and she's like, I need you to fucking listen. Like, she drops the F-bombs so well.
Yeah,
like,
she's great with the fucks.
So, like powerful though. Like, it never diminishes, like, returns.
It's just her delivery. Like, like it's her cadence. Like, she's just,
you know, when somebody says the F word a lot, it's like loses its meaning.
Yeah.
She has the ability to never lose the power behind her F punches.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. And then, well, we see also, like, all their power sources are from, like, Trieu Industries.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we stole them. And she's like, because she let you do this, right? And it's interesting because, she probably knows, like, the bigger picture. She's like, these guys are obviously, like, racist, whatever. But, like, you know, Lady Trieu's bigger picture is definitely much more terrifying than what this is going to be, in a sense, I guess.
Yeah. And I love comparing, like, their technology, these idiots, compared to, like, Lady Trieu.
Oh,
like, they have, like, fucking recycled battery cages, and Lady True has a floating goddamn like laser cannon. It's so funny.
And it's very scary
so
looking.
amateur.
The centrifuge. It's really
it was very
spherical
ominous
and spiky
it does
and sleek.
seem like it symbols like the end of the world.
It looked like something on a labyrinth.
But either way, Keen will enters like the machine, and then
He doesn't listen.
Obviously,
Which looked like the
who
thing
saw
that
coming?
With that machine actually kind of reminded me of the thing that turned Steve Rogers into Captain America a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
A little bit.
Well, it definitely had a different effect.
Yeah.
I mean, melted essentially, disintegrated. But essentially, it's like a teleportation device. They teleport to the main square.
Yeah, no. So what happened was he goes into the device, and the teleportation happens.
When
But
they flip the switch.
yeah, but apparently there was something about filtering his atomic energy or some shit. And that's why he turned into mush.
No, there's nothing filtering the.
Yeah,
it was going straight into him. Which is what like, and ew, that was so gross when it opened. What was that like by Laurie's foot? The heart?
I think it was a heart, or something like that. Or a
Yeah, it was
shoe.
pretty gross.
Well, yeah, and then
But he's dead.
Yeah, and there's no way.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Lady True's plan was set outdoors. Otherwise,
Yeah.
otherwise the counter strike would have been.
So
Boiled.
about the setting for Lady True's plan, do we think Will was like, I want it to happen here?
I think
right
so.
in Black
Yeah,
Wall Street.
maybe.
I want it to happen right where they started this
The
whole
Greenwood
fucking thing
Massacre.
off.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I
It
think
was. It
so.
was right in Greenwood Massacre, right, like where it started.
Right by the Dreamland Theater, right in front of it.
I think that probably might have been like a caveat. I mean, it's definitely like dramatic irony.
Yeah, I think it's part of it.
But the thing that is interesting, so True's like all of her like employees are there. They're like taking the guns with like those giant magnets.
By the way, her employees, they're all women. There's not one fucking single dude.
Yeah, they even kicked out what's his face, the agent, and he's like, sorry, no, ladies only. Remember in one of the
the
episodes?
fuck?
Yeah, that they did. They didn't let PD in.
Yeah,
What the
and it
fuck?
was never explored. It was just like, yep, that's
just
what
her
it is.
preference.
That's what it is.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I
That's
guess
weird.
so.
That's discriminatory, and that's
Sexist.
that's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, she also did want to like destroy. Like, she has a lot of issues.
No, I know.
She's the bad guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I know.
So it's not surprising. I guess. Yeah, I didn't really notice it's all females.
Yeah, PD, right,
Yeah,
PD.
PD.
It was like, sorry, ladies only, and I'm like, oh, they should address that. They never did. It was just
No.
a thing in the world.
Have we ever seen her have a good scene with a guy?
Will.
Ozzy.
Will, yeah, maybe a
And
little
Adrian
bit.
Veidt, it wasn't like bad. Like, it was just like rubbing in his
Their
face.
relationship's very contentious. Like she's constantly competing with
Yeah.
him, right?
But I
In
don't.
her own mind.
But I don't think she's had one. We haven't seen anyone that's been like horrifically bad.
Yeah.
We've seen like, and the newspaper dude.
The newspaper dude.
They seem
And-
like they get along great.
Yeah, they seem like they would get along.
Also,
Nice hat, lady. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. I mean, it was an interesting hat. I like her choice.
Defeats
Yeah.
the purpose. Doesn't cover your head.
It does.
It was
defeat
just a
the
halo. I guess like the shade
But,
to the face.
they were trying to communicate some stuff visually for sure.
But then Adrian and Lori reunite, which is nice.
Yep.
And how do you say her real last name? Miss
Justepic.
Upesky?
I have no fucking
Anyway,
clue.
I
he
love that.
says
I
it.
love that scene so much.
I did
I'm
too.
like, I want this to be
I
the
love
whole
that.
show.
Yeah,
Why
I love
not?
that there was I love that they got reunited.
I know. I did. I would love to. Well, it's interesting because he has like a respect for Lori too, though.
Yeah.
Like he really does, and you can see that very much from like the way he treats her. But so they're all sitting there, and Lady True now there's another monologue because every villain has to have their monologue. But she goes into this thing. She's like, William Reeves like wanted me to read out this paper, and it's basically talking about how they're at the site of the Greenwood Massacre of 1921, and how like Cyclops was formed, and how like all the things that they tried to do. And then Jane Crawford, who's very scary now to me. Does Jane
Crawford's terrifying.
She like really flipped a switch.
Yeah.
And she's like, just do it. Like even the way she's looking, like just like not even disgust, like I don't even know.
That's disgust.
Defiance.
It's disgust.
Yeah. It's disgust and defiance.
She's just like, just fucking do it. Just kill us. Let's go.
And she's like, you're gonna kill us, right? And the way that Lady True delivers her line, like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Just matter of fact.
Yeah.
You did it really well, Salva.
Did I?
Did you
You
practice
did.
it?
You nailed it.
Oh man, I just been like practicing every night in the mirror. That's how I would do it. That's why. Just joking, obviously. Would never do
Mhm.
that.
Got my eye on you now.
Yeah. But the way she delivers that, and then the lights all like kind of go on to the 7th Cavalry members. and kills them all.
It's like a laser. Just fucking destroys them, disintegrates them.
Yeah, and then Dr. Manhattan like teleports Wade and Adrian and
with the goo. He puts his finger on the goo from Keen and transfers some sort of biochemical signal to whoever's stepping in that puddle, and they poof, they're gone.
To Karnak.
Yeah, to Karnak. Yep.
Which
Smart.
I know it is smart. He doesn't teleport Angela, and we get to that a little later. But like, True's very upset.
Yep.
Because she like really wants her like Adrian to be there. Like it's a very like I want to show you like what I've done. Like
exactly.
Also, what happened to her eyeshadow? When she got mad, her eyeshadow got all smudgy. Anyways.
Oh, because it was white before.
Yeah, she had white eyeshadow on.
Yeah, man. You know she's rocking those looks.
Fucking 80s all the way. Yeah, no, like this moment makes it abundantly clear that her ambition is purely driven by wanting to impress her father and her mother. And like,
well, she goes on that thing that like, you know, you could have cleaned the air, you could do all this. Do you think she would? Like, do you really think it's coming from human
I wanted to know what she was gonna do. 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
If like she got those powers.
Yeah. Like,
because she made it sound very humanitarian.
Yeah, and if she is the same as Ozymandias, right? Oh, sorry. Ozymandias, like the same motivations, the same methodology. Like, I want to know what her plan actually was.
Yeah.
If she was just like eliminate all people and then planet is saved, or you know what I mean? Like,
because she was like,
that's unanswered essentially.
Yeah, and well, because it is.
She hinted about like pollution and all that, but who knows really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see her as an omnipotent being. I think she'd find a way to kind of not only do all the great things we'd want her to do, but she'd do all the things that she thought were great and not nobody.
This idea of power, it's like great. If you if someone wants that great of a power, like what does that say kind of about them? Like there's some sort of ambition.
Which was Ozymandias.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Which is like different from his motivations. His motivations was like, I'm just playing better than everyone else, so I will make this decision for everyone else. Like he never wanted Ozymandias' power, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't want to be like president. He didn't want to do all that
like he
stuff.
could have been president. And he didn't even take credit for it. That's the main difference between him and her, right?
Well, yeah, so like she is mad that he's gone, but she's like, I'm gonna go kind of do it anyway. And then we see this conversation between Angela and like Dr. Manhattan or like John or Cal, like whoever, like you know what I mean? And it's really, we're really seeing a human side of him. And also in this episode, like she's very passive this episode, and we're so used to not seeing Angela passive. And I understand she's like not able to do anything, but it was like strange to see her so passive.
She didn't really play a part.
See, here's my biggest gripe with this series. Dr. Manhattan doesn't have the capacity for this kind of emotion.
For him to say like, I don't want to be alone when I die.
Doesn't have it, right?
Or nor does it explain whoever inherits his power, how they would also fix that problem of not caring anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that has never been answered.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that I don't know whether the cage that they had him in interfered with his powers so much that he was becoming more humane. I don't know if that was the case, but Dr. Manhattan as a character just doesn't have the capacity to get there. He doesn't have the emotional bandwidth. Yeah. He doesn't even care about, like, he doesn't even care that he doesn't have the emotional bandwidth. Yeah. Like he has different focuses on what he wants to do, right?
The not wanting to be alone when he died was very human.
Yeah, and it was very out of character.
It was, and this is like, I don't know if this is right or not. This is like my shot in the dark of maybe reason, but when faced with his own mortality now, when he always believed he was immortal, maybe some of that could have came back. But that's like obviously like a shot in the dark. But oftentimes when we're faced, like we think of those things when we're faced with our own morality.
Yeah, but he's almost been killed a bunch of times, right?
No, it's not even that he's almost been killed a bunch of times. It's he's facing his death always, right? Like he knows when he's gonna die because he sees he's gonna die. Yeah, and it's like he approaches that the same way he approaches a math problem.
Yeah,
right. It's like it has never been a thing that like it has never been a thing. So if he ever would feel like this sense of like fear towards his own death, his own demise, he would feel it in every other scene because he experiences it in every other scene he's in. Right. So it's like it's this like it's a good theory, but I don't think that's that supported by like they never really explain, because the thing is like that's the most interesting part about writing this Dr. Manhattan character is like this god that doesn't care, and they just like completely said, oh, we'll just forget that detail, let's make him fall in love, right? It's like they needed to write around it.
Like they needed to write around that for sure.
It's very, very hard, almost impossible, but that was the challenge, right?
Dr. Manhattan didn't need to be in love in this series for it to be good, right? I don't think that this was a critical element of this show. Like they could have done it completely different. There could have been a different connection between Dr. Manhattan and Sister Night, Angela Abar.
I do like the connection that they had. Like I do,
but it's so against the nature of the true character, right?
Yeah. I'm super conflicted because the second last episode was like probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of like, that's the thing. Like it was shot properly. It had a lot of heart. It had a lot of emotion.
It had callbacks,
but it wasn't written right. Like it was written for the right character.
It was a Dr. Manhattan meet cute. That's what that episode was. Right? That's exactly what that episode was. And I'm like, I hate to continue to harp on this, but the character just isn't built like that.
Yeah,
it's not how the character functions. Right?
And I was actually hoping, like you, that there would be a right around and it would be explained, but there just isn't. It's just like, just take it as a fact.
Right.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is maybe because he's faced with his own, like he's experienced, like obviously he knows he's going to die when he's going to die, but then it's like actually at the moment of, and then he's in that weird machine. But I don't really know. These are just like me kind of like guessing.
Well, this brings up some interesting questions. Like we were talking about, was there any threads left hanging, right? There's still no answer as to why Dr. Manhattan went to find Angela, right? We have no reason why Angela was his focus, right?
Would he know anything beyond his own existence? Right?
No.
So he wouldn't know what would happen after the end of this.
Sure, but he went into that bar looking for her.
No, well, the idea was, like, this is my problem with how he finds causality as well. But, like, the idea was, like, he falls in love with her and then goes to find her, right? Like, he knows he's going to fall in love with her. But, like, this is my problem. Like you're right. It's not a very explainable thing because it's like one causes the other, therefore there's no origin for one or the other.
Right.
So, but the thing is, like, if you look at it through him, like, through his thing, it's like, he falls in love with her, not in chronological order from when he finds her, right? So for him, it could have been he fell in love with her and then went to go find her. So like, yeah, there is a problem with a lot of, like, it's supposed to be a mind fuck. It's like, like what birth, what origin,
right?
It's like the chicken or
chicken
the
and egg. That's why they keep saying that. Yeah.
But anyway, in the scene, Bian finally like starts the centrifuge, and over in Karnak, Adrian asking, okay, when's the last like extra dimensional incursion? Which Laura's like, what? And he's like, when's the last squid rain in Tulsa? And it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wade would be the one to know.
Yeah, Wade knew it off by heart.
It's interesting because Wade, like, he finds out that like Laurie knew about the squids as well, and then Adrian also finds out that like Laurie's in the FBI, which is also just funny.
Yeah.
Work for there.
She's like, I'm their top vigilante hunter.
I know how the tables
irony
turned.
Irony.
But meanwhile, like, Dr. Manhattan is fading away, and he keeps telling Angela to sort of like go, it's not safe. And she's
don't
like,
touch
I'm
the
staying.
light. Yeah.
When she says I'm staying, that line, the way she says it, honestly, like, she's such a good actress, Regina King. Like, I really felt it.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah. I'd like to offer my own argument for why he felt more human than he. It doesn't explain why he falls in love in the first place, but like what I was thinking, actually, it might not work either because of how time works with him, but because he lived as a human, what I was thinking was that, like, because he forgot his power for a period of time, that personality is intact within his own mind, right? Like the Cal.
That's why
Cal
his face
intact.
never left. Cal's face never left his face.
Yeah. Like the argument would be that, like, because he lived as Cal, forgetting his powers, that Cal's personality is still intact within Dr. Manhattan's mind. But at the same time, like, it doesn't work with the whole time dilation because
that could work.
It could make sense because he didn't leave the face behind. He still had Cal's face.
That could work because, like, the only other body he's had is John Osterman, right? And now he's got another body.
Yeah, there you go.
More DNA, another brain.
Solved it, Chris.
another heart.
I still don't think
right?
I solved it, but yeah, I'll take that.
How crazy would it be if the guy that ended up in the icebox in the police station, or sorry, in the morgue, saw Angela at some point?
I think so.
How crazy would that be?
Yeah. And then like
he like imprinted on her.
Frank, write the fan fiction.
Like,
We're writing it right now.
Like she imprinted
the
on
original,
him.
the original Calder. Or,
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah, the guy in the morgue.
What's his name?
Cal. I can't remember his last name.
Cal something. Cal Zone.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Anyways.
Or what if Angela picked him because they already had sex or something?
That's what I was thinking as well. Like they already had a thing.
What if Angela already picked? Yeah. What if
she orchestrated the
because
whole
because she was so weird about it, right?
She was
so.
She was totally weird about it.
She thought he was hot, but you write that fanfic. I'd read it.
I'm not writing it.
That's your area of expertise.
I've never written one. I've just read copious amounts of them. There's a difference. Anyway, this is another scene I like, guys. Is I don't know how you feel about it, but when Angela asks him, "Where are you?" and he says, "I'm in every moment we were together all at once," I was like, "Damn,
that felt like a Lost moment. That was like totally from Lost.
Oh, my heart was like, and then you see every moment. I know you guys are gonna.
Didn't they literally do that in Lost?
Yeah.
With what's his face? With the Scottish guy? Desmond. Didn't they do it with Desmond?
I'm not sure. Well, like
with
in the purgatory thing?
No, with what's her face? With Penny.
Oh, Penny, not Lucy.
With Penny, it was like flash, 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 flash.
I don't remember.
No, actually, they did that with every character because when they figured out they were in another time and place, and when it was time to realize that they had to go back to the island, it would go flash, 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 and it'd be like this montage of their moments together.
Oh,
so that was definitely a fucking Lost moment. That's why it feels so fucking familiar.
Okay, to me, I feel like I watched up to that point. I do remember Damien and Penny, but I don't know. It's been too long. I just love that scene. I just like seeing their moments together, and he turns into Cal before he completely disappears.
Yeah,
which kind of lends more to this, like, you know, like your theory, Chris, maybe of him still being like stuck. And he's in a weird sort of thing. He just got out of it. Like he just got out of Cal's head. So he's kind of in a weird space of mind. But meanwhile, in Karnak, Wade is told to turn down the temperature gauge to 2022 or the temperature gauge. Did you guys have any idea of like what he was planning to do here?
No.
It was like rerun, like my ass kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I really liked that. And the other line I really liked was most worthy adversary. He referred to Lady Trieu as a most worthy adversary. I really like that.
A raging narcissist whose ambition knows no limit.
Yeah.
And he's like, takes one to know one.
Takes one to know one. He said it in Latin first, but then he said it.
Because he had to say it in Latin first because he's
so pretentious.
So not that I love that guy, honestly. Not that I didn't like the solution to this problem.
But
because it was foreshadowed.
Yeah.
I wanted to see them like have a mind fight. Right? Like I wanted to see Ozymandias have a plan to combat her plan. But it was like this like, oh yeah.
Like a back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the season I wanted, right? Like they wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, be too long to kind of build that out for sure.
And that's the thing. It's like it's too long because we spent a lot of. Not that I didn't like the whole like Tulsa thing, but like if you're gonna dead end that whole like 7th Cavalry thing, anyways.
Yeah.
As like a pawn move, you could have just spent more time with Ozymandias. So here's what I think should have happened. Ozymandias, that episode where he fell down from the sky. He should have been a player from that point to the mid-season finale, which they didn't have one, of course, because it's not that kind of a show. Like, Ozymandias should have entered the game, and he should have been playing against Lady Trieu. And he should have been the one rallying everyone, and then like...
So, like, more of a back and forth. That would be kind of interesting.
But instead, it's like this, like, one-shot thing that they had.
Because we don't really find out the final plan until the very last episode.
They were banking on Dr. Manhattan from the start. Like... He was going to be a major role in this show, right? And they really pulled the wool over our eyes very quickly by hiding him in plain sight, right? Like from the get-go, right? And, you know, and I think people started to speculate that Cal could be Dr. Manhattan after we figured out what happened on the White Knight, right? Angela got away on, you know, without dying.
That and his answer to like heaven was very weird.
It was weird.
Like, I mean, even if you don't believe in it, which is fine.
Yeah.
like to explain it that way to children was like, damn, that's like super strange. That was like the first thing that was like, what is up with that?
Yeah, I think that was I thought that was a normal thing.
I mean, I'm around like a lot of kids. Like
no, in that universe, in that parallel universe.
That's what we kind of chalked up to. Like maybe that's normal, but I don't think it's that normal. Like I think like he just like speaks that way. But there was
no. I don't think there was an ounce of Dr. Manhattan in Cal, except for instinctive on the instinctive level.
Yeah,
because of the whole White Knight, right? But anyways, continue.
The other thing there's another line that Adrian says that I really like too. He says, I think we talked about this, but I think we kind of briefly mentioned it. Those that seek the power of a god should not have it or be allowed to attain it. That's what Trieu is. Like, she's one of those people. Those Vite knows it, right? The whole like, takes one to know one kind of deal. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he never, like we talked about this before, but he didn't seek that power out. Yeah. Like Lady Trieu. That's the thing that is scary when someone wants that.
But he still has that power because of the squid. Like, like that is a godlike power, being able to play God and can kill people at that. Right. That
but
amount
they disappear
of
on landing. Like
No, I'm talking about the first event.
Oh, the first one.
So I actually think that it's not. So this is my thing with Ozymandias. Like I don't think he does fit that role because, like, first of all, he manipulates. First of all, I love the fact that like instead of trying to attain Dr. Manhattan's power, he just like manipulates him like any other player on the board, which is like gangster as fuck. But I think that the main difference between him and Trieu is the fact that he never took credit for it. Like, he never wanted to be the guy that whatever. Like, he could have been president. He could have told everyone I saved the world. Although, like, he would have had to do a workaround because he had to sell the lie or whatever.
But he still wanted to be congratulated for it. It wasn't a selfless act.
But I think he wanted to be congratulated, not by everybody, but I think he wanted congratulations from some people.
From
very
Redford,
different.
Probably, but that was about it.
Yeah.
And the difference is, sorry.
Well, Trieu was saying, like, he was like, I bet you she'd want everyone to kiss her, like, little blue feet was, like, the line
that was him speaking for himself. Like, I think so.
Because he had, like, I don't know. I think he understands what he would do with that power, which is why he doesn't seek it. Where Lady Trieu doesn't. Like, she thinks, like, I'm going to do all these things, but it's for sure going to go to her head.
Yeah.
You know, like, seeking that type of power, like, anytime anyone is seeking power, and you find this with, like, people who want to be, like, president and all that kind of stuff, it's like, looking at them, like, it takes a certain type of weird, like, ambition that you have about yourself.
I never really saw Ozymandias as the ambitious type. I just thought he was, like, just too smart for it, because his whole motivation was, like, save the world, right? And it's like, I think he was just too smart for his own good, and that was, like, kind of the extent of his character flaw. And it's like, no, well, the thing is, like, he thinks he's got the right to, that is very godly, but he thinks he's got the right to make decisions for mankind, because he thinks they're all below him. But it's never like to be to get adoration or to get like to get the power.
Children.
Yeah, because he's
no,
doing
but low key he does. Low key he does want the admiration. Tell you what
it's really similar to? It's
like
similar
he really
to
wants
like your mom and dad, like when they want you to like they want you to just be like, I appreciate you. Like they just want to hear that. Like I think I relate it more to that because like my parents do like a lot of things for me if they do a lot of things and like. I'm like, oh, you never thank me. And if I say, oh, thank you for doing this, like, thank you for helping. Like, for me, it's more of that thing, like a father, like, wanting thanks for what he's done, as opposed to, like, you know, him.
Bow to me. And,
yeah.
And most of his motivation, like, we can tell from the Paradise was, I'm not useful here. Like, I'm not needed here.
Exactly.
I need to be needed.
Yep.
But it's not like I need to be worshipped, right? It's not that I, like, I'm not.
It's definitely not about worship, but it's also like if the Mrs. Crookshanks and Mr. Phillips were just normal people from Earth who experienced that event, like the whole like Squid Day, let's call it Squid Day, and if those were like normal people and they were like all those people were lined up and they were saying thank you Adrian Veidt, thank you so much for saving us. Thank you for avoiding a nuclear holocaust.
I mean, he would love
that shit. He would eat that up with a fucking spoon.
But I think he knows the consequence. Like he's like, I have to keep this a secret.
Yeah.
So I think like that's, and I think that is what really
interesting
is like different than Lady Trieu though. Like I don't think Lady Trieu understands the extent of her narcissism.
No, she doesn't understand it because she hadn't seen it. She hasn't spent any time with her father, right? And if she did, she might understand it a little bit better because like she's all Adrian. Like she's got so much Adrian in her, it's fucking ridiculous.
But going back to the scene, so the plan is to actually like freeze the squid, and sort of like kind of, and she's like, everything in 5 blocks will be obliterated, which was, we'll get to the end when we'll see the obliteration.
Yeah,
I have my quotation marks here. I mean, it was whatever.
I think he was just using literary.
Yeah. But back in Tulsa Town Square, the squids are starting to fall. Bian tells Angela that they have to go or they'll get hurt. And then like the hotline rings, the Dr. M hotline, so that comes in handy. And it's Blake telling Bian and Angela that they have to take cover. And then you see that scene of that freaking, like her hand, the hole in her hand. Did that hurt?
Stigmata. That was a stigmata wound. That was from the same wound that Jesus suffered when he got put up on the cross. That's why they did that. Without a doubt, was the God symbology, the religious symbology.
I didn't even think of that at all. Yeah. I didn't know that was what it was called.
Stigmata wound. Yep.
Damn. Well, it looked gross.
It was
she's
gross
just
as
looking
fuck.
at it like
gross as fuck.
And then I also.
And the only thing that saved her was the centrifuge at first, because like it was right above her, right?
Yeah. And
the centrifuge took most of the punishment
and drops right on her, and she says "motherfucker."
Yeah.
in Vietnamese. Great last words.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so here's the question. What happened to Dr. Manhattan's powers? They're in that centrifuge. They're gone. They've been sucked out of him.
Yeah.
He's been sucked in, and it's like in this machine, but then this machine is destroyed.
Gone.
Does it disperse?
Power doesn't die, right?
It disperses into something else. Yeah, you cannot destroy power. It only changes forms.
It only changes forms.
Yeah.
So where did it go?
I know. It went into the plot hole. Is where
that is the exact spot. But that is something I did. I was like,
Bazinga.
Like despair and I stop it right now. I can't with that. It dispersed into the air. They went into the life
You
force.
like Friends, okay? So
okay, I'm so sorry. I do enjoy watching Friends, but Big Bang Theory is a thing all on its own. But Angela is like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run to Dreamland Theater. But I think she knows her kids are there. Like, I think that's the main motivation for running there. Because remember in the last thing, he's like, oh, like, you're like Will with grandpa at the theater. And she like has that little whatever thing and is like kind of running through. And then we see all the cops, like Red Scare and like
Pirate
Jenny. Panda.
No Panda.
Damn.
He's not a field agent.
I know, but I just want him there.
I just want to see more Panda.
He's the only one that would live. He's the only one that would live because he's got like a helmet.
Yeah, I know. He'd be fine.
Anybody notice how dirty his head is too?
Oh, it's so gross.
It's fucking filthy.
I think he eats Cheetos.
Also, can I tell you, like, Red Scare also looks like he probably doesn't wash his outfit often. I like how his outfit is sweatpants.
Yeah.
Like, he just was like, this is me.
Typical Euro.
Like, he just wanted...
It's like pick a persona. I want it to be comfortable. Let's just be fucking...
Taken 2. Let's dress like one of the guys from Taken 2.
Eastern European sex traffickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drakkar Noir.
So Angela makes it to Dreamland Theater, which is really where the series started.
Yeah.
When you think of it, like 100-something years ago. Yeah. And the kids are asleep on the stage, and Will is there, and he asks Angela about like, she's like, is John alive? I think he might say Dr. Manhattan or whatever, and she's like, no, he's gone.
He's gone.
Like, what about like Lady Trieu? And she's like, also gone. He's like, well, I'm not
too sad about that
because I think she
he knew exactly who he was dealing with.
Yeah, and she was like, he was the one who suggested it.
Yeah. So the big reveal is Dr. Manhattan told him about it.
Yeah.
So here's a plot hole right there. So Lady Trieu gives him, like, allows him to get the nostalgia pills. Yeah. So who edited out the footage of him meeting? If it's its entire life, him meeting Dr. Manhattan should have been in the pills, or it was edited out. But the person who would have edited it out would have been Lady Trieu.
But how is this? Okay, this is how I have a question.
The pills didn't take her into modern day, though.
Here's the thing.
Oh, they did when he killed Judd Crawford. Yeah, they showed him what showed her what she needed to see.
Does the person who creates the pills, do they see the memories? Like, is that how that works?
They see the memories. Yeah,
I don't know.
So here's my problem. It's like it's either Angela would have seen that scene with Dr. Manhattan meeting Will Reeves, which would suggest that the pills are just all of the memories, or somebody's edited it out. And the problem with that is Lady Trieu's the one that edited it out, that edited the whole thing.
My thing is, like, he wouldn't want that scene to be seen.
Yeah, but like, it's Lady Trieu doing it. Lady Trieu would have seen Dr. Manhattan talking and
Oh.
telling him to backstab
Oh.
Lady Trieu.
But here's the thing. I don't think he said anything about backstabbing. I think he said work with her because in the end, Adrian was the one who killed her, right?
Yeah, true.
But no. I mean, you had a theory earlier that Will Reeves was the one that brought them out in the open, so that like Dr. Manhattan could teleport them to Karnak so that they can rain down the Gatling gun of Squid Doom.
No. My theory is that Will Reeves put them there because of the symbology of it, like in the middle of Greenwood.
Right.
Where
Okay,
the
so
actual
it had nothing to do
place.
with. Okay,
No.
But anyways, like, so I thought your theory was put them out there because what I said was, man, if they fucking stayed inside the place, then like they wouldn't have died through the.
No, I just think it was symbolic. They wanted to murder an entire Cyclops organization right in the place where things kind of jumped off.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so it still doesn't answer the fact that Dr. Manhattan literally told Will Reeves, like, you have to go there in the first place so that like we can win out in the end because Dr. Manhattan.
But I wonder if because we never saw what their conversation was, so I wonder how much he told him. I wonder if he just said like, listen, for this outcome to work out, for us to save the world, you have to work with this woman. Like that could have been all was said. Like we don't really know what was exactly said in that convo,
right?
Because I don't know, like because.
But Will Reeves said like this is what Dr. Manhattan wanted in the end. Right, so like something had to have been said.
Well, I think
to
like
lead him there.
Yeah, that could have been said more of a note. Well, like it ended the way he wanted, or because here's the thing. This is a question I have then about. Oh, what was it? When he was talking to him and saying, "Oh, it's like slipping my mind completely." Oh yeah, when Lady Trieu was talking to Will Reeves like a few episodes back, and he was saying like, "Oh, she'll hate me. Like Angela will hate me when she finds out what I'm a part of." Like in his mind there, like all he knew was Dr. Manhattan was going to die. Like, I don't know if he knew more than that. I don't really know. It could be a plot hole. It could be, I just don't know how like the logistics of like nostalgia and the logistics of how much he knew and how much he didn't.
Yeah. Well, dude, in the world of TV today, it's really difficult to do an entire series without developing plot holes. Like, it's
I know, but it's our job to kind of point it out.
No, I know, but like I just think it's one of those ones that's extremely complex and extremely intricate. But you make a good point for sure.
Well, then he does ask her. He's like, "You take my pills."
Yeah.
Right. And then the line I really love that he says is my origin story.
Yeah.
Which is very like superhero-esque.
It is.
And how he's basically saying he's like almost sitting in the same chair that he was 100 years ago. And his like mom was playing like the piano over there and like that burned down.
Talked about the movie.
Yeah, with Bass Reeves, and like that's where he got his last name.
He took his name, yeah.
And we talked about this, like the whole thing, and Bass Reeves has like trust the law, like not in mob justice.
Yep.
And he's like, and that's what I tried to do. I tried to trust in the law.
Yep.
And I think we talked in the very first recap show about like how this was what the show was going to be about.
Is
it mob
100%
justice
about that.
or trusting the law?
Because Lady Trieu's approach to how she's going to fix everything is very much vigilantism and a mob mentality.
I think it wasn't enough about that, in my opinion.
And Cyclops is a mob mentality
They
too.
could have done more on the mob. Like I like the idea of like not trusting the law.
My biggest disappointment in the show is like in the trailer they promised us these things and it just like, but it's like they went a different direction. It was a good direction, but it was a different direction.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very symbolic that they decided to tie Bass Reeves, a very real person in our world, into this story because it's argument could be made that the Lone Ranger was really one of the first mass superheroes, right? When Superman emerged, he wasn't wearing a mask, right? But when Lone Ranger, he had a mask, and to take that iconic pop culture figure who was basically inspired by Bass Reeves, and then tie him into a world where all costume adventurers are inspired by an African American superhero pretending to be white. Like the irony doesn't get any fucking thicker than that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like cool. Maple syrup viscosity levels of like thickness in the irony.
I
like
love
it's
maple syrup.
Yeah.
I like that.
Canadian reference.
And I think the really interesting thing about this scene as well is we kind of see Will Reeves' reasoning for putting on the mask. in the first place. So we've talked a bit. We saw like Adrian said like masks make men cruel. Lori mentioned that, you know, for her, it's some sort of family trauma. And when he asked Angela, like, what do you think I felt when I put that mask on? And she said anger, which is very similar to what, you know, she thinks she's feeling. And he said, that's what I thought it was. But it was really just fear and hurt. And the line he says is, you can't heal a wound under a mask, Angela. Wounds need air. And that is so, I think that really there, like, I think hones it in for like Angela.
Yep.
What all
That was
this is
an
about.
amazing line.
It's such a good line.
Yep.
Probably like my favorite line of the episode.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
For sure.
Line.
Maybe of the series.
Yep.
Because what you see with all these people who are wearing masks, they're all hiding from something.
They're hiding something.
There is a fear.
Yep.
There. And with Angela, like, she comes across as such a strong character. But this is like, this mask, Sister Night, is like an accumulation of her fears.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, I find it, like I said, you know, I find that moment very, very powerful because it does harken back to, honestly, big takeaway for me was that, you know, it's almost poetic, and I think I've said this before, but it's almost poetic that the writers of this show took Hooded Justice, whose origin was never explained in the comic book, and, you know, with his motif, with the noose and everything, they made him an African American, which I think is, again, you know, a very logical and very emotionally thoughtful choice. Because the way that I see things is that, you know, the shit that African Americans have had to suffer, there's nobody that needs a superhero more. And, you know, I'll go back to what Damon Lindelof has referenced as his big inspiration for wanting to do the Watchmen finally, and that was reading Ta-Nehisi Coates' Case for Reparations, which was in the Atlantic. I haven't read it yet. I really want to read it. I've read a lot of Ta-Nehisi Coates, but I haven't read that. And I just think that this is something that our society needed. Like, these are messages that really needed to get out. And where it's the perfect time for these messages to get the air, you know, to come out and to connect with people. Like, this is the perfect time.
For me, especially like relating it to the characters, one thing you'll realize is that like the suffering never really ends when you go through something.
Yeah.
Like, Angela's been suffering her whole life, you know, and so she has her coping mechanism. She has, you know, family, whatever else, but that pain, none of it has ever left her at all. And I think you can say the same thing for William Marie. Like, he's an old man now. You know, it's 100 years later since this thing, but like the suffering or like these kind of wrongs, like they don't really leave your mind in a sense.
Those kind of wrongs don't leave you.
No. So I think we're kind of seeing that with.
And she's forever changed for not only what happened to her now, but also what she experienced through her grandfathers.
No, that's the thing about nostalgia. Like, actually physically feeling someone else's emotions and their traumas on top of your traumas.
Yeah.
Which is why when she came out of it. And I think now, like, the way we see her with Will, we've never seen her like this before. Like, it's not like she's not mad at him. She's not yelling, even though she knows he knew what was going to happen. Like, I think there's such an understanding there because, like, she's literally walked in his shoes, you know, like she literally has lived his moments. And I think once you become so connected with someone, like, you can't really truly maybe hate them because you felt it all.
It wasn't a nostalgia pill. It was a fucking empathy pill. That's what that was.
I know, which is probably why you shouldn't take other people's pills as well. Yeah. Which is shouldn't have like just freaking down that bottle.
Yeah.
But the other thing is he's trying to comfort her and Will, and he says, you know, you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple eggs. And she's like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah. Right? And he's like, oh, he said you'd understand it, and like you probably just don't understand
it. When the time came, and he's like, the time hasn't come yet.
Yeah.
And then she's like, want to sleep over?
Yeah.
For a couple of days, you know, but share it really means like
forever.
Come bro.
It just feels like just a couple of nights, but like, yeah, I think, you know what I mean? I think the one thing that she really wants, it's funny because Dr. Manhattan mentioned this. It's like you say you don't want family, but that's the one thing you want is like this sense of family and the sense of like where I come from. I think a lot of people kind of want that in a sense. And back in Karnak, so the scene kind of jumps over and we see Archie, which is like Night Owl's ship. And,
yes. So excited to see Archie.
Wade knows how to fly it.
Yeah, because Adrian's like, I believe that the Tulsa police force has adopted this design. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, they have adopted that. Yeah. And Blake's like, you're coming with us. Like, you killed 3 million people.
Yeah.
Which is not what he was expecting at all. And Wade's like, I got your proof. I have like this video here. And then he's like, what are you going to do? Like, the world will end. And the line I love that she says is, people keep saying that, but it never seems to
really
happen.
Happens. Yep.
What do you think the repercussions are of them going back? And like, because he's like, what are you going to do? Arrest the president? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she's arresting the president. Sorry.
I don't think she's arresting the president either.
Yeah.
But like, it's very different because he's like, oh, you were fine with this now. And she's like, people change, Adrian. At least like some people do.
At least some people do. Yep.
But
No.
he's still like, so he just came back to be jailed. Will the FBI figure out?
I'm not a big fan of that ending. And also like, Looking Glass. Also like that scene was weirdly like.
No, I like the fact that Veidt is going to go to jail.
Oh, I don't.
I do, because like he deserves it, 100%.
Save the world, but yeah, sure.
Sure, save the world, but also like killed that many people.
If we're gonna like get it down to like real world, if you want to like level it down to like real world stuff, yeah, he deserves to go there. He killed a bunch of people, but it was mostly the scene. It was like this lighthearted, like bash him over the head, like, oh, he talks too much. Like it took away from the ending of like the very heavy feel of the ending.
Yeah,
and also like. Yeah, like I don't want like his character is just like we already just lost Dr. Manhattan and now like Veight's just gonna
but there's this through line of the ends don't justify the means throughout this entire show, right? And it comes through the exploration of vigilantism and through law enforcement, right? And the message has to be that like just because you think that something is gonna just because you think something is going to do the greater good, you can't sacrifice, that many people. Like, you just can't get away with it. Yeah.
And she does have, like, Blake's a very different person than she was when we first saw Laurie.
That also was the weird thing. It's like as if her entire role was just kind of based around arresting. Like, that's really the only thing she did the entire season was arrest Dr. Manhattan. Or, Ozymandias.
Arrest people, yeah.
Also, like, he should have died. Like you don't hit somebody in the. I mean, I get it. Like it's whatever.
That happens in shows a lot where people get hit in the head and they just knock out.
With a wrench, you're dead.
Yeah, with a wrench, you're dead.
And he's a senior citizen.
He is quite old.
Yeah. Well, he did catch a bullet.
Doesn't
mean his skull isn't.
I think Wade knew that he couldn't take him like hand to hand, so just had to pick up a wrench.
Just like whatever.
Improvise.
Do you think like Wade and like Laurie will have something?
No.
I feel like Wade would be into Laurie.
No.
I feel like he's
they probably have like some sort of weird friendship thing.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say some sort of weird sex.
Yeah, like this. Oh my god, like this. You're right. Like you're right. The through line of the show is like you have a point about it.
Well, it's the through line for everything in Watchmen.
No,
right?
no. That's not true because not the only through line because they also. I was gonna say it sort of undermines the whole like Rorschach's sacrifice and why he died because it's like. He was never gonna stop like trying to unleash the truth. That's why he knew he had to die.
Yeah, but Rorschach believed that the ends didn't justify the means.
Yeah.
Right?
Laurie is right? Like, it's interesting that Laurie now falls on the same side as Rorschach.
Yeah. So like there was also a thing about like the greater good. There was a heavy theme about like what a person has to do for the greater good.
Right.
That also got completely undermined. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Right.
Because like the message you wanted to put out was. Like decisions like that like shouldn't be like made by people infallibly and without consequence. Sure,
right.
That's the thing you wanted to do, but like it's also true that it completely undermines a lot of the themes from the original Watchmen, which is what the show wanted to do in the first place. I think
the thing as well though with Adrian and him making that decision or the decision he has made is that we see the outcome of them, and I like did he save the world or not? Like, is it not still going towards this thing? And so does that mean each time something horrible something you think is going to end the world is going to happen, you do this sort of event? Because that's what like Lady Trieu was going to do. She's like, I'm going to save the world. And like, it's interesting there because he even kind of had that comment like, they keep like making like nuclear stuff.
That's another like thing that I think was worth asking was that like, is is humanity worth saving? Like that was the whole thing with it when he was like, I gave them so many chances, but they keep making bombs. I don't understand. Right? Like that was another thing to explore with his character, where Lady Trieu was like, yeah, you just didn't go far enough, right?
Very Thanos too, like, I snap my fingers but this time around, I'm going to basically reset the entire fucking planet.
Yeah.
Infinity War was one thing, and Endgame is his mission completely changed, which was, I'm going to reset everything, and I'm not going to let anybody remember that this happened. Right?
See, it's interesting because like that's actually what I thought the show was going to be. Was like he like did this horrible thing, saved the world, but now it went to shit anyway, which is what I thought the trailer was like hinting at. And it's like, oh shit, now I have to think of another like grand conspiracy to save the world, which is like that's what I actually thought it was, which did happen, except minus the fact that he's not there anymore to do it, right? So it's like, you're right. Like, did he save the world? Like, eventually, probably not. But did he save everybody from the nuclear holocaust? Yeah, he did. Right? Like, he did save everybody. It just didn't last because the question of whether humanity is worth saving.
And if they're going towards the same point, because if they're going through the same path each time, like they're just going to get there. Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I really don't know how I feel about him being arrested. I don't know. I'm on the fence of liking it or not liking it. I thought it was an interesting ending. I do like all of Laurie's scenes. And I guess it would have been nice to have her more kind of involved with the
She needed
finale.
more agency.
Yeah, but for what she did have,
there was a lot of kind of wasted potential for me.
Yeah.
Like, and like it would almost take too long to just say like, oh, for them to do, I wanted more. For example, I wanted more fight. If to do that, they'd have to take away from somewhere else, and that's harder. That's harder for me to like quantify, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's my final takeaway is that like there was two kind of contradicting stories, not contradicting, but there's two stories that happen, and while one like grew, the other one got pushed to the background, and that's like that's kind of like the one thing I really wanted them to do is like dissolve this line between these two very different stories. Because if you notice, like Adrian Veidt, Laurie, and like Lady Trieu never really dealt with the race problem ever. Right, they never touched it. It was for Lady Trieu.
It was a means to an end.
She touched it like in a practical mean,
Yeah.
right? But not in like, and then so that story has nothing to do with the rest of the story, right? Like they could have dissolved that line a little bit more for me, and in my opinion, I would have loved for them to have grown that side of it more. Like I wanted to see Adrian Veidt do more, Lady Trieu do more, even Will Reeves.
Yeah, but I think they brought Lady Trieu's character and Cyclops to a level where they almost were equal in terms of their.
But they never interacted.
They didn't interact,
No.
which I thought it would be really interesting for them to find out, like Cyclops to find out that this Vietnamese woman is basically in charge of, like, had made them come to this and was like kind of like the hidden figurehead.
Yeah, and like
That would have been an interesting.
oh shit,
thing.
we're being manipulated, and then that could have been a cool thing, but really it's just like, oh, we're being manipulated, and disintegrated.
Yeah, but equal in the sense of optics to the audience, right? Like Cyclops and Lady Trieu, if you really think about it, aren't any better than one or the other. Like, yeah, Cyclops is racist, but Lady Trieu just murdered the whole mess of people.
But better in the sense of like in a moral light, or in a like
Just because
in a competency way.
No, just because somebody's racist doesn't mean you have the right to fucking murder them en masse, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I, granted they've committed crimes and they deserve to be punished, but there's, again, it's the whole vigilante thing, right? It's the whole, did the ends justify the means? And Lady Trieu is just as evil as Cyclops now.
Yeah.
Just based on those actions of this last episode.
Yeah.
Right? So they almost kind of blurred the lines in terms of, the right and the left, the good and the evil. They're almost kind of, you can't really see the demarcation line anymore between these characters or between these elements or these entities.
Right, but it doesn't mean that they're equal in but they're equal in being the antagonist. Like one of them is clearly the antagonist.
No, I know that.
And the other one is clearly like just a throwaway villain.
No, I know that, but there's two sides that were trying to get to the same MacGuffin. Right?
Yeah.
So as they're approaching the MacGuffin, they didn't give us one to sympathize with over the other. Granted, there's probably people who watch this show who sympathize with Lady Trieu more because she's more liberal. She's more fucking open-minded, blah, 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 blah.
I definitely liked her way better.
and then you have racists, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably going to side with Lady Trieu, but at the end of the day, truth be told, they're both evil on the same axis.
Yeah, but now imagine if they interacted with each other. How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
think
what
it would have been cool.
I'm not
to
saying
have
that it wouldn't,
Yeah.
but like, you know, you have to call a spade a spade. And Lady Trieu was one crazy evil bitch. Like,
So that scene, yeah, there's a lot to dissect there.
yeah,
For sure. In terms of like sort of like the endings of these characters that we know, but the scene sort of continues on, and Oklahoma, another song from the musical Oklahoma starts playing, which is "Oh What a Beautiful
morning. Yeah,
and Angela's taking her kids and like, you know, her grandpa through town square. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but where it's a dreamland,
yeah, Dr. M.
all the only lights that were, I was like, damn.
I actually
That
saw
was
that
cool.
when on the way in when it wasn't yet fully done.
Yeah.
It was still falling, and I'm like, ERM. I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Mr. Like
That was
the
cool.
Avengers thing.
And then we see the like Red Scare and Pirate Jenny don't have their masks on anymore, and they're like comforting Bian, who just like inherited a huge company. Man, that girl's rich.
Mhm.
And Angela is bringing the kids to her little shop, which is obviously where her car is, obviously to drive them home. And then Topher and Angela kind of exchange this look.
Yeah, it's like
I think Topher's gonna be the coolest kid. I would love to see like his take on all of this,
Yeah.
because I feel like he is really like digesting a lot of what is going on around him. But back at the A-Bar residence, she still has that, I don't know what it's called, that little circular device that she used that Dr. Manhattan has. She still like kind of has
Plan
it.
A.
What?
Plan A. We'll call it Plan A.
Oh,
Or
Plan A
ambition.
with a little like ball in the middle that's like moving back and forth.
Yeah.
That's a dope ass necklace.
Yeah.
Imagine walking around with that. Like, how
That
do you
would
get it
be-
to float?
Oh, that'd be a cool way to wear it. And Will kind of like talks to Angela. It's funny because Will's like, I'm gonna sleep for 2 whole days.
Yeah.
I'm like, you deserve it. You've been
Yeah.
through a lot.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, the exchange here is like, it's weird that he said this line because he's someone who's kind of passive in a sense where he's
It is
like,
weird.
he was a good man, but he could have done more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought when he said that line, I was like, that's very weird that he said, like, given everything he had, like he could have done more. And I was like, okay.
See,
And-
that's the thing with the like that's the disconnection with who this character is. It's
Like,
just,
what does he know then?
Well, no, I don't actually think that applies. I know what you're gonna say. It's not that he got the character wrong. It's exactly what somebody like Will Reeves would misunderstand about that character.
Yeah,
about some.
but the same people say the same thing about God and Jesus too. Like they should do more, right?
Yeah, agreed.
But like Dr. Manhattan's like he's not motivated by emotion,
Exactly,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Saving the homeless and saving the downtrodden is a very emotionally based thing. It's something with somebody with a lot of empathy would make the decision to do that if they had the means to do it, right? But that's not how his mind works, right? Fuck, we don't even know if he has a mind when he's like in blue form. So but yeah, like we don't know, right?
Yeah, I just was like, it caught me kind of off guard, like that line.
It was
last
very
line.
off guard.
And then Angela, goes,
There was a little bit of an agreement to Lady Trieu as well.
yeah,
Like essentially a more benign version of what Lady Trieu believes. It was
Yeah.
like yeah, he's got the fucking power. He doesn't
Yeah.
use it, right?
where she was like, yeah, this guy, like he's a good guy, but he could have like, done more. I guess it was more in that.
Yeah, I don't know if it caught me off guard. I thought it was like someone like that, like because he's not thinking like this guy shouldn't care because he's omnipotent and like he shouldn't pick a side or whatever. But he's thinking about it from like essentially a hero perspective, where it's like, yeah, like he could have fucking pulled his weight, right? Like I know he wouldn't, but he should have. Anyways,
Mhm.
Well, then Angela starts cleaning the eggs. I was like,
But
that's gonna be a mess. Like I was like, damn, I was like stressing for her too because I get sticky anyway. But she sees in the carton that there's like one egg not broken, and that line that he mentioned before, and she sees this flashback of him saying, "Watch the eggs." And there's also a voiceover that starts, which is basically the conversation that they had in the bar last episode, where she's saying, where John says theoretically that he could transfer his atomic components into organic material. And then she's like, oh, if I ate it, I could walk on water kind of thing. And he's like, well, technically, And that's where it starts. I was like, damn, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? I do really like the way this scene is shot. The way that when she's like walking out into the pool, very nice pool, by the way, walking out to the pool, cracking, because like nothing is said, but there's so much implied.
You know what's going to happen.
She's eating the egg, just the foot. And I knew it. I was like, they're not going to show it.
No, I knew they cut it. I was like, Sopranos style. Here we go.
If you rewatch
Inception
that scene,
style, hello.
But if you, like, I went to just rewatch it again and you see a little blue light.
Oh, it's a reflection of the
it's
pool.
The water.
No.
Dude,
I watched it like 3 or 4 times.
They did that on purpose to make you think that, right? It's the reflection of the thing to give you like.
So wait, do you think she has them or not? Then
no.
I think we shouldn't answer it.
No. Damon Lindelof did answer it.
What
he did in an interview?
What did he say?
He was like, I think it was a interview I read with Vulture, and he's like, maybe he didn't. He's like, if you don't think she turned into Dr. Man, I would like to hear your arguments, like why, kind of thing. Like this is kind of like her origin story. I swear he had this thing. We're gonna have to double check.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a roundabout answer to like not answer it.
But I really feel like he did. You guys talk about this while I look this up. This final scene. What do you guys feel about
Honestly,
it? I don't think he would. Why would he? That's like the big payoff. That's the thing.
Right? I'd be really surprised. Like that's why I was surprised by it, because I was like, usually people don't say.
Yeah. I never answer questions like that. The
when
filmmaker doesn't want us to answer a question like that.
When exactly did he transfer his matter into the egg, though? That's the thing.
Oh, he could do it. He could do it instantaneously.
No, I know, but like, when did it happen? Like, wouldn't he need an impetus to do it?
No, there is. So like the whole thing scene, he already did it, and then he stood on the water and said, "This is like you looking at me like this.
Yeah, I know.
It's important for later."
Yeah, I know.
Like that's what he meant.
Right. Well, I don't know, man. Honestly,
no, and also he told Will Reeves to tell her like the egg thing, right? I don't know. Why would he? Because maybe the world needs a Dr. Manhattan.
I don't know, man.
Maybe. And the thing is, he was like, it's very implied what the ending is. Like I don't know where he exactly says it, but I don't know. I'm very sure that in a roundabout way, he kind of confirmed it, or maybe directly. As to what happened with that scene, because like we're not
very Damon Lindelof thing to say, though. If you have any reasons why not, I'd like to hear them. That's a very Damon Lindelof
right,
because
that's what I read, and so I think around that like this is her origin story essentially. Like this is supposed to be what her origin story is, and he kind of mentioned like I'm not planning on doing a second season. Maybe someone else might want to continue in a few years. Maybe a few years from now, I'll feel like doing one. So we don't really know. I'm more the thing, like I kind of like not knowing. Like I don't want.
Yeah, I don't want to ever answer that question.
In my headcanon, I think that it was a sense of humor. I almost feel like it was almost set up as like just this touchstone moment. And they've connected, like she remembers the chicken and the egg. She remembers the egg in the bar.
I found it.
What?
The quote.
Okay, tell me.
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, if someone wants to argue that Angela sinks to the bottom of the pool, I'd want to hear their points. I have my index cards ready to make an argument for why she doesn't sink, but we still chose not to show it. If ending 1 is she walks on water, and her number 2 is she sinks to the bottom of the pool, and then number 3 is we stop right before her foot hits the surface of the water, ending number 3 felt like it was the best ending. So that was what he said. Which
he essentially says debate me. So
he's like, this is what happened, fight me on it. So in that way, I think that's what I ended up reading. I haven't read this whole article yet.
It's good press for the show.
Yeah, he definitely like is airing on that side, but there's a reason why they didn't show it, and there's no way he's gonna be like, remember that awesome ending I gave you? That shit's, don't worry about that. It's actually true. You know what I mean?
Guys, you guys go back and watch that scene, because I swear it lit up blue. And it wasn't the reflection, because why would the reflection be light blue?
Because they want to trick you with camera shots and angles.
I don't know.
And lighting
After
effects.
reading that, like I was like, oh, like it makes me not question as much what the ending is. Yeah. But I do like that they start playing I'm the Walrus, because that's where the title of the episode is from, which is like See Her Fly.
Yeah.
And it's like I am the Eggman.
Yeah.
Like,
I am the Eggman.
Yeah. That's like the last song.
Oh, true. I didn't know
of
that.
the thing. The people who chose the music really did do a good job with like actually musically doing it.
And the composers, Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor. Amazing.
But yeah, that's it. That's
it,
Watchmen.
guys. That's it.
The full show.
It's over. The end is nigh. The end is time.
The end is here.
Yeah, the end is here.
It's been a ride.
Yep.
I will say that the second half for me was much stronger than the first half.
Yep, without a doubt.
The second half really felt more Watchmen like. Specifically, those last 2 episodes, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wish it was.
I really enjoyed the nostalgia one though too.
No, nostalgia was also good.
Yeah, nostalgia one
that
was amazing.
Yeah, like from a technical point of view, like mainly, I liked it too. But like that episode, I'm gonna study that episode over and over again just
Beautiful.
for camera angles.
Yeah,
how
it's
to-
And the
beautiful.
way they would like get
Love
her in the scene and him out of the scene
Yeah.
in the same sort of way. Yeah.
in a continuous shot. Yeah, the transitions between scene to scene, I loved it.
Well, big applause to the creative team, Damon Lindelof and
So happy.
crew. Dave Gibbons, thank you for blessing this project and being an executive producer on it.
The actors on it were great too.
The actors were fantastic. Regina King, Jeremy Irons, Yahya, Abdul Mateen, too, for the second. Oops. Who else are we missing?
We're missing Laurie Blake.
Laurie Blake, that would be Jean Smart.
who was also
And
very- yeah,
Don Johnson.
whoever plays Lube Man.
Yeah, whoever plays Luban. Louis Costa Jr., who played Will Reeves, older Will Reeves.
He was really good too.
Chappie from Iron Eagle. Again, nobody understands my reference, but that's okay.
Mhm, yep,
There's somebody
Iron
that
Eagle.
does out there.
But yeah, it's really great cast. I did enjoy the show overall. I think I like it as a standalone. I don't think I need a second season because I don't know what they would do with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm good with this
Yeah.
being the last season or the only season. I'm good with this continuous story
Yeah.
here.
Oh, we left out Tim Blake Nelson for Looking Glass.
Oh yeah, he's really good.
He was amazing.
good.
Who played Lady True? Let's see, Lady True.
Regina King for me I love her anyway. Like I just love her in most things, and in this, like for the same. Like
Hong Chow.
Hong Chow.
Hong Chow. Amazing cast, amazing performance, amazing story. Incredible. Just one of the better shows of the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Without a doubt.
That's a
I
lot of
enjoyed it.
years.
I
I
enjoyed
did
it.
enjoy the show as well.
The writing was unbelievable, and I really appreciate the process before they even went into production. Like all the things they did behind the scenes.
I love the world building.
The world building. I like the fact that they made it a point of getting a diverse writers room where people could really speak from experience. I think that was super important, and I love the fact that the thing that made Damon Lindelof want to do this show was that essay by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It was almost like it gave him reason. It almost gave him the spark of an idea to kind of tell this story. And that's where all that Tulsa 1921, the Black Wall Street, Greenwood thing came from. And Lindelof said himself too, he said when he found out about these events and he didn't know about them already, he felt the same way that anybody else did who just found out about those events. You know, shocked and, you know, a little bit ashamed that we didn't know about it previously. But that's due to our education system. And that's who Lindelof blamed for that too. So I don't feel bad in saying that. But yeah.
Good show. And for you guys, thank you for like listening to us and our ramblings.
Yes.
And us patting ourselves on the back every time we were right about a theory.
Yeah.
Picasso out.
What did you guys think of the show though? Like the listeners. I know you can't answer here, but you can answer at meanwhile_pod on the Instagram.
Yep.
We'd really want to know what you guys liked about it, what you didn't like.
Yep.
How do you think of Vite's ending? Obviously we had debates here how we felt how that was, and would you want to see like a season 2, or are you guys kind of good at where you are?
Yeah, I commented on Damon Lindelof's Instagram today. Like,
You
are you
did.
completely against are you completely against doing season 2?
Oh, Frank.
Of course I did. Of course I did. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong.
I love Damon Lindelof. He's one of my favorite writers.
I hope he replies back.
I don't think he will.
And I hope he gives you the heart emoji.
I don't think he will.
Okay.
I've sent DMs to Kevin Smith. I've done all kinds of.
Whoa, man, send some DMs in there.
Yeah, man.
Jeez. Okay.
Kevin Smith. Yeah, yeah, so, this is it.
This is it.
We're not doing any more of these after shows, but we still have our Mandalorian after show. If you're a fan of Star Wars, if you're a fan of Mandalorian, or if you're a fan of 30 minutes of procedural crime stuff, this is the show for you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you guys think, and I hope you enjoyed all our ramblings.
Yep.
This is Saba.
Frank.
Chris.
Peace.
Better dudes.
Later. Who watches The Watchmen? We don't anymore.